So it was described to me at a high level, so I don't know exactly what it's about.
Where do they live?
I am not.
Yeah. Is that like your good news conference?
Yeah.
You had to eat with you right on camera. Rookie mistake.
Welcome to the June 12th, 2026 meeting. I want to thank all of you for being here. Some of you here at the MSU Southwest Michigan Research and Extension Center, and so it's been great to be here in Benton Harbor. I'll say a little bit more about that later, but I'm going to call the meeting to order and turn to Secretary Fletcher for our meeting protocol.
Sure. Thank you very much, President Guskowitz, and good morning, everyone. Just a quick reminder on the meeting protocol that in the event of a disruption that prevents individuals from hearing or observing the meeting, there will be sort of warnings, and then we will proceed to potentially recessing the meeting. In the event that the meeting is recessed, the board will meet via Zoom to conclude the meeting, and there would regrettably be no opportunity for public participation at that stage. That would be the meeting framework up front. Thank you.
Great, thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask if there's a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved. Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The agenda is approved. So I'll jump into my report, and it's been wonderful to be here in Benton Harbor and to join our board and other senior leaders as we learn more about the community and some of the important connections that our university has here in Southwest Michigan. And I want to thank the Southwest Michigan Research and Extension Center for hosting us. Thank everyone that joined us at a wonderful community reception last night. The sun was setting out over the farm there, and off in a distance were those dark clouds that we managed to wrap up before the storm came last night. But at any rate, hearing directly from some of the local farmers about the impact that our faculty research and outreach has on their industry was incredibly rewarding to me, and I know to others that we had a chance to talk to. So again, thank you for those that were able to join us. I want to just begin today by thanking everyone who joined us to salute more than 10,900 Spartan graduates at ceremonies last month, alongside their proud families and the university's equally proud faculty and staff that helped to make that such a special graduation weekend. This impressive group of graduates included 214 who earned multiple baccalaureate degrees and 320 graduates who compiled a perfect 4.0 undergraduate GPA during their time at Michigan State. And then there was a special moment that many of you probably saw. In addition, we had 3 graduates who signified their role in the Sparty mascot program by wearing the costume boots at commencement, which is a tradition where they're able to reveal that they have been in that costume for their 4 years at Michigan State, so it was pretty special. We're also celebrating very soon another special group, proud group of graduates this season, which will be the 5th cohort graduating from the Apple Developer Academy. As you know, some 200 Detroit residents in this cohort trained in coding, app design, marketing, and project management through this really special program. Our partnership with Apple, Gilbert Family Foundation, is still the only academy of its kind in North America, and we're proud to be that partner with Apple and for it to be centered right there in Detroit. So a lot of excitement with that ceremony coming up. Speaking of technology, we recently held 2 events on campus with a focus on artificial intelligence. The Ethics AI Summit and our first Apple Manufacturing Academy Forum. And I want to thank everyone who joined us in those events as we think about deploying and teaching AI machine learning in responsible ways. Meanwhile, in our role as the state's chief talent activator, as I like to say, initiatives spurred on by our Green and White Council continue to move forward. This is an initiative that we launched in April of 2025. I could not be more proud of the work that team has done and what we've been able to accomplish. For example, we're developing tools that better track graduate careers, identify new workforce opportunities, and strengthen alignment of career preparation with evolving industry needs, and hearing from those industry leaders about what it is that our graduates are missing and could help better advance their really important. We're also advancing plans for a centralized corporate engagement center, among other actions. Council and the board had the benefit yesterday of hearing from Dr. Shashank Priya, our Vice President for Research, and talked about the importance of a corporate engagement center and the difference that it'll make for us at MSU, but more importantly for industries around the state of Michigan. And to support workforce-ready AI education, we recently awarded more than $500,000 in competitive grants, encouraging faculty members to design courses focused on artificial intelligence. And the successful proposals ranged from a 2-day non-credit immersive workshop building AI literacy, ethical decision-making, and workforce readiness through collaborative problem-solving, to a 1-credit university-wide AI literacy course and micro-credential, to a 3-credit interdisciplinary course preparing future educators to effectively integrate AI into teaching, learning, assessment, and educational policy. So I just want to thank those who put forth proposals, those who sat on the team to award these funds that will help to advance this initiative, and look forward to seeing what comes of this. I also want to mention a couple other recent campus developments of note, and the first of those on May 14th, more than 100 stakeholders and friends, several in the room here today, gathered to celebrate the opening of our newly renovated Plant Science Research Greenhouse Complex. The renovations and additions, including new greenhouses and state-of-the-art environmental controls, will bring our facilities up to the level our scientists and students need to maintain our leadership in plant science and serve our many industry partners in ways that we quite honestly witnessed yesterday in talking to several farmers in Southwest Michigan here. That is really important work that will be happening right there on our campus that extends out beyond the East Lansing campus. Also pleased to congratulate John Papapolomero, who has served as interim dean of engineering for the past year and a half. We're celebrating him because we were recommending him for the permanent dean's post pending today's board endorsement. Dean Papapolomero has collaborated on numerous vital initiatives, including securing more than $110 million in philanthropic support, much of it going to the new Line Weber Center for Engineering and Digital Innovation. He's met with alumni and corporate leaders around the world and certainly here in the state of Michigan, and has served as a delegate on investment missions to strengthen business opportunities for Michigan's growth industry. So congratulations to John in this accomplishment. As I said, it's great to be here in southwestern Michigan for this week's activities. In some ways, it yesterday I think was another version of our Spartan bus tour, maybe a mini version of our Spartan bus tours. But just a few weeks ago, several dozen MSU leaders and faculty joined me for our semi-annual Spartan bus tour, which visits places where Michigan State is making a difference and our students and alumni call home. This leg of our tour took us to the Flint-Saginaw Bay region, places that represent Michigan's natural, cultural, and industrial and labor heritage. And we saw just how deeply embedded Michigan State University is in these communities, and how their stories, people, traditions, and partnerships have helped to shape our great university. And we saw firsthand the impact of that collaboration, resilience, and community-driven work across the region, and we're grateful to all those who hosted us on that fourth Spartan bus tour. And as always, participants were able to get to know colleagues that they may have never met sitting on a bus across 2.5, 3 days alongside faculty and senior leader colleagues that you may not have met before, allowed for really neat things to happen, future collaborations, sort of planting seeds for future interdisciplinary projects, as we like to see. Turning to sports, let's talk FIFA World Cup turfgrass. We can be proud as we tune in this summer, knowing that MSU has literally laid the groundwork. Our internationally recognized turfgrass management program has worked with FIFA to provide natural grass playing surfaces across 16 locations, bringing Spartan research to soccer's biggest stage. And I'm looking forward to hearing more in today's research presentation, but I do want to take the opportunity to congratulate Professor Trey Rogers and everyone who has represented MSU in this huge sporting event that will now begins to unfold here over the next several weeks. And we'll hear from Dr. Rogers here shortly. I also want to share 2 additional meaningful sports events that I recently joined. And those who follow the Spartan tennis might know that our men's tennis team had an especially notable 2026 season. The team won both the Big Ten regular season and tournament titles for the first time since 1967, so quite an accomplishment. And all that was happening as we were opening the doors to our new state-of-the-art tennis center, and I was pleased to join Joan Sekia-Novak and others for the dedication of this facility with the rebuilt outdoor courts, improved spectator and team room facilities. The project is providing our athletes with one of the very best facilities in the Big Ten, and will foster student-athlete success both on and off the court for years to come. And then it was especially rewarding to welcome participants to the first standalone Special Olympics Michigan Unified Day on May the 12th. Since its inception, the Unified Day has been part of the annual Special Olympics State Summer Games, bringing together athletes with and without intellectual disabilities in competitive events. And the new format brought inclusive competition here as its own dedicated experience. And expanding access to opportunity has always been what Michigan State is about. And we were so proud to host this wonderful event on a day that it was like the coldest day of the month, I think, but we were out there bundled up, might have even sleeted a little bit. It shouldn't be sleeting on May the 12th, but it was. But these athletes were incredible, and we just enjoyed hosting them, and it was a really special day, and I was proud to be part of kicking off the events that day. Coming up, I want to just take a special note, make note of our 6th annual Juneteenth commemorative celebration. This year's theme, Beyond Freedom, Building Futures, Protecting Our Past, and Activating Change, recognizes the contributions of past and contemporary artists, scientists, and advocates centering Black excellence in American history and culture. There are commemorative events throughout next week, and there is something for everyone. So we hope that you can join us for some of those events. Finally, and I recognize my remarks were long today, but this has been this is the end of an incredible academic year, and I love to highlight all the events that happen on our incredible campus. But in my role as president, I have the privilege of witnessing the remarkable impact that Michigan State University has on our state, on our nation, and on our world every single day. And I know so many people here in the room take part in that. You too get to witness this incredible work. And I'm grateful to work alongside so many dedicated students, faculty, staff, coaches, alumni, donors, and other supporters. Together, we have navigated challenging federal transitions over the past year and a half, and continued to focus on a safe, welcoming, and inclusive environment, something that I'm very proud of, and I know I speak for many others in our community that feel the same. Importantly, the record-setting milestones accomplished through our Uncommon Will, Far Better World campaign will shape MSU's future for years to come, for future Spartans. We see some of the tangible signs of MSU's programs through facilities, including the new Lineweber Engineering and Digital Innovation Center that's coming up out of the ground as we speak, our new Student Recreation and Wellness Center that opened just about 5-6 weeks ago, and our new Plant Sciences building that's taking shape and will be opening here within the next 9 to 10 months. And as the board moves today to set next year's budget and our tuition and room and board rates for the next academic year, I want to acknowledge the faculty, the staff, the leaders across the university who have worked so diligently over the last year to implement budget adjustments that will put the university on a sounder financial footing. This is really difficult work, hard work, but important work to get this right, and I want to thank all those who played a role in helping us to put forward what I think is a responsible budget. We know we have another year ahead of us with more tough decisions to make about our spending and operations, so I want to thank all of you that, again, for making these important accommodations to our fiscal stewardship, as I like to call it. I also want to take the opportunity to thank our leadership team for their vision, commitment in moving our great university forward during challenging times. We recently wrapped up, again, as I've said, an outstanding academic year, and I only touched on a few of the highlights, but I'm proud of those accomplishments that we've made together. And I want to thank the trustees for their time throughout the year, but also their time this week at this retreat, for their engagement with students, faculty, staff, community members that we heard from and learned from. And for all of us collectively participating in meaningful conversations here in Southwest Michigan community, showcasing the important impact and partnership that MSU has as Michigan's state university, and all that we do in these local communities. I specifically want to acknowledge Chair Brianna Scott, who lives about 80 miles north. I went and looked, it's about 80 miles north in Muskegon, but had the vision and the passion to bring us here to Berrien County and to highlight our important work in agriculture in these communities. And it was great to see Ben LaCrosse, president of the Farm Bureau, met with local farm owners and members of our outstanding MSU extension team, Patrick Cudney and from the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, and Ben, Beth, Mike, and from Extension, Jackie, and Stefan, and our board office for putting together an incredible retreat for us. I want to thank all of you. In conclusion, I'm proud of all that we have accomplished this year. Our one-team approach across the leadership team has resulted in many accomplishments in advancing our 2030 strategic roadmap. Bill Beekman and his team helped to showcase some of that yesterday. We had students that presented on the impact of what a good strategic roadmap really means. And I've always said, when you put students in front of a group, and I'm looking at them right here, you steal the show, you take the day, and so keep doing that. But it was great to showcase some of the important work that we're doing. I believe today that the university is positioned to continue moving forward with strength and momentum behind an exceptionally talented and dedicated leadership team, extraordinary world-class faculty and dedicated staff, world-class athletic coaches, passionate students and one of the most loyal alumni communities in higher education that we have here. And I'm confident that Michigan State University's future is very bright. MSU will continue its talent activation, something I've been talking a lot about the last few years. And its impactful research and teaching, its community engaged scholarship, its bold, innovative ideas, and will continue to be a leading global public research university with a mission of changing people's lives. I talk about it all the time. We have to always remind ourselves that we are in the business of changing people's lives. And so, as always, we'll be strategic, bold, and student-focused. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here and for everyone that participated in the events of the past few days. And with that, we'll turn to the rest of today's agenda. And I'll turn to Secretary Fletcher for the public participation on items germane to the agenda.
Thank you, President Guskowitz. So now we will proceed to hear from individuals who have requested to speak on items that are germane to the board's agenda this morning. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes to address the board. You will hear a buzzer at the 30-second mark, and again when your time has concluded. Given the number of speakers, we ask that you do not exceed your allotted time, and note that any individual may not cede all or part of their time to other individuals or read statements on behalf of others. We will now hear from Melissa Bettinger, followed by Colleen Hill. Melissa, are you with us? Melissa, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa Bettinger, and I am the Secretary and Treasurer of the Cass County Historical Society. So today I'm talking on the agenda item, the sale of the property of the Newton House. So I just want to give you a little bit of background about the Cass County Historical Society. So we're a nonprofit organization. We're dedicated to preserving, protecting, and promoting the history of Cass County, Michigan. For the past 50 years, our mission has been centered around 3 core principles: preservation, education, and community engagement. Through volunteer leadership, fundraising, and educational programming in historic preservation, we've become a trusted advocate for protecting the places that tell Cass County's history. We currently own 2 historic places in Cass County. The 1848 Red Brick Schoolhouse, which is gifted to us by Kerfuffles Public Schools in 2024. We have since then secured grant funding for a new roof, for window restoration and installation of a handicap accessible door and ramp. We also own the 1923 Pioneer Log Cabin Museum in Kerfuffles, where we maintain that structure and the contents of the museum. In addition, the Society has long partnered with the Cass County Historical Commission on the preservation and operation of the 1865 Newton House. This property is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and also the Michigan State Register of Historic Sites. The Newton House is currently owned by Michigan State University and is leased to our government partner, the Cass County Historical Commission. Although the Historical Commission and the Society have invested years of volunteer time, money, and resources into the Newton House, the house faces significant restoration needs, upwards of $200,000, including a new roof, furnace, windows, exterior painting, etc. The Cass County Historical Society has successfully secured grants, donations, and community support for preservation projects at the properties that we currently own. However, without the ownership of the Newton House itself, the access to the critical preservation funding is very limited. Today, our request, we're here partnering with the Cass County Historical Commission to respectfully request that Michigan State University transfers ownership of the Newton House to the Cass County Historical Society. This would allow us to solicit those needed grants, the private donations, and community partnerships, and dedicate those funds directly to the preservation of that historic landmark. To us, the Newton House is far more than a building. It is an invaluable piece of Michigan's history. With our ownership, the Historical Society can secure the resources necessary to restore, maintain, protect it for generations to come. I did thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Our next speaker is Colleen Hill, followed by Jennifer Owens. Colleen. Morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, members of the board, for allowing me to address you today. My name is Colleen Hill. I am the Vice President of the Community Foundation of the Holland-Zeeland area, and I am here today alongside with a community partner from Lakeshore Advantage to speak specifically to the agenda item regarding the sale of the bioeconomy facility in Holland, Michigan, and to offer some perspective of the philanthropic community, how the philanthropic community has invested in the Institute since its earliest days in the partnership with MSU. When the facility came to Michigan State University in 2007, it was through a donation from Pfizer Corporation that was brokered by Lakeshore Advantage. The Holland-Zeeland community responded immediately and meaningfully with a commitment to support the partnership and the opportunity. Lakeshore Advantage played a central role in securing critical public funding to support the facility's operations, and Jennifer Owens will speak to the scope of that effort. What I'm here to speak to is the private philanthropic investment that accompanied that. The Community Foundation of the Holland-Zeeland area, in partnership with Lakeshore Advantage and local donors and businesses, raised a $5 million endowment fund entirely through private contributions to support the Institute's research leadership and help attract internationally recognized expertise in the bioeconomy field to West Michigan. Since inception, that endowment has distributed approximately $2.8 million in net grants to the Institute to support that work. Today, the Community Foundation holds 23 active donor funds tied to the Bioeconomy Institute. Each one of those represents a local individual or business that made deliberate, personal investment in the vision and in the partnership with MSU. How this chapter closes is important to them, and that's why I'm here. As the board considers the sale, we respectfully request that Michigan State University consider reinvesting a portion of the proceeds from that sale back into the Holland community through a fund dedicated to economic development efforts, continuing the spirit of the original investment and partnership. A reinvestment equal to the net grants our community provided through the private philanthropic investment for over nearly 2 decades would be a fair and meaningful start to those conversations. We approach this request with deep respect for Michigan State University and a genuine appreciation for the long-standing partnership that we have had. Our hope is that this transition reflects the values that made collaboration possible 20 years ago and leaves a lasting legacy in the community that helped build it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Colleen. And next, Jennifer Owens. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. I'm a little shorter. Good morning, Board of Trustees. My name is Jennifer Owens, and I serve as the president of Lakeshore Advantage, the economic development organization supporting Ottawa and Allegan counties, just about an hour north of here. I'm also a proud Michigan State graduate, and I valued my Michigan State experience, so I'm here as a strong Spartan supporter. I'm here today to share a little bit about the Michigan State Bioeconomy Institute. When the community learned that Pfizer would close in 2027, we quickly activated to preserve this asset. We rallied, we contacted an array of different university and education institutions to make this a center of bioeconomy. At that point, Michigan State came to the rescue and took this facility on to operate it. Lakeshore Advantage actually helped secure the donation of that facility to MSU for $1. We also helped to raise $5 million for the endowed research director position at the Community Foundation. In addition to that, $5 million of additional state grants were secured based on our team's support. At one point, we were so deep into this facility, we had a full-time team member at the facility whose full-time job was to generate new business development and opportunities to activate the site as a national asset. Today, as you consider reauthorization with the sale, we recognize and respect the university's responsibility to be a good steward of its assets. We also recognize that a future owner may continue to support jobs and economic activity in our region. Given the significant local investment, we believe it is appropriate to ask the board to consider how the value created through this sale can continue to benefit the community that helped create and sustain it. Specifically, we encourage consideration of investing a portion of the building proceeds into a local economic development fund at the Holland-Zeeland Community Foundation. We approach this request with great respect for the university, of its roles and its constraints and with a collaborative spirit. Our goal is not to impede the transaction, but to ensure that the long-term impact and the decision of Michigan State University continues to move that entrepreneurial ecosystem forward. We're prepared to work with university leaders and relevant partners to identify construction solutions. Thank you for your consideration.
Jennifer, thank you, and that will conclude our public participation on items germane to the agenda. And President Guskowitz, with your indulgence, I'll move straight to the consent agenda. So the consent agenda is used to group routine items for consideration in one motion, increasing meeting efficiency and allowing more time for items that may require further discussion or attention. The following items are included on the consent agenda for this meeting. Approval of the minutes from April 10th, 2026 and May 17th, 2026. The gift grant and contract report for the period of March 12th, 2026 through May 13th, 2026. The report is a compilation of 419 gifts, grants, and contracts, plus 9 consignment non-cash gifts with a total value of $196,757,006. Personnel actions and information reports, appointments and other personnel actions listed in attachment A, which we will I'll circle back to at the end. Budget and finance, 2, authorization to proceed with the anaerobic digester expansion and renewable natural gas facility addition. Item 3, sale of property at 242 Howard Avenue, Holland, Michigan, the bioeconomy facility. And then item 4, the sale of property at 20682 Marcellus Highway in Decatur, Michigan, the Newton House. From academic affairs, 2 naming opportunities. One, sort of plant and environmental sciences lobby. The naming of the lobby inside the plant and environmental sciences building is the Kirk and Celeste Faber lobby. 2, sort of the naming of 195 Crescent Road, the naming of the facility to read the Rosenberg Center. Audit risk and compliance. 1, conflict of interest, the approval of contract terms as publicly posted and specified as part of the board's meeting packet. Last, going back to the personnel reports, we are pleased to recognize the faculty members who have received reappointment, promotion, and promotion with tenure at this time of year. Please direct your attention to one of several screens around the room as we acknowledge these outstanding faculty members and their achievements. President Guskowitz, that concludes the consent agenda, and I would look for a motion and support.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Support? Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Consent agenda is approved. Thank you. And we'll now turn to Vice President for Research and Innovation, Dr. Shashnik Priya, who is going to introduce today's speaker.
All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rogers today, Professor of Turf Grass Research in the Department of Plant, Soil, and Microbial Sciences at MSU's College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. Dr. Rogers' research focuses on turf grass establishment, soil modification, and performance turf innovations. In 1994, he served as the lead scientist for the Pontiac Silverdome Indoor Turf Project for the World Cup, where he and his team developed a novel portable turf grass system, which has since become an industry standard. He has since served as a turf grass consultant and project leader for the 2004 and 2008 Summer Olympic Games and the 2008 Union of European Football Associations Cup. In 2021, he began working with the FIFA to support the turf grass research and implementation for North America World Cup 2026, which you are seeing this week. Dr. Rogers and his team identified optimal turf grass mixtures for the play fields and help introduce sawed-on plastic internationally in preparation for the World Cup games. Dr. Rogers has consulted on golf courses, athletic fields, and turf grass matters across US and many other countries such as China, Greece, Japan, Dominican Republic, Argentina, Brazil. I think there's no country left this year. He has given more than 300 national and international presentations, authored more than 250 publications, and written a really nice book, Lawn Geek Tips and Tricks for Ultimate Turf from the Guru of Grass. Exactly. So I'm so glad to actually introduce Dr. Rogers. He's from Penn State alma mater, which is also great. So he connects very well. Today he will share his work on preparing soccer pitches for this summer's FIFA World Cup. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rogers.
You get a clicker?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, nice to be here. My favorite is actually, I've been here since 1988, and I will tell you, whenever anybody asks where my favorite part of Michigan is, we're standing in it right now. It really is. It has been forever. So I'm nice to be here. Always nice to be here. Unless you have been under a rock, you know that the World Cup has kicked off. This is the biggest one ever, right? I mean, 3 host countries, Canada, United States, North America. And they really bit off quite a big bone here this time because they wanted to have 48 teams. They've had 32 up until now. And so that meant they were going to have a bunch of host cities and 104 matches. And FIFA doesn't like to do anything easy. And the United States is not easy because we don't have soccer stadiums. All right? So this meant that they were going to need some help. And the guys at the top I've gotten to know very, very well. Alan Ferguson in particular there. But Alan Ferguson actually reached out to John Sorokin in the middle there. You'll see that this partnership with the University of Tennessee. And you know, and you might say, well, why did he reach out to Michigan State? Well, that is because this thing is not going the way I want it. That is because John and John Steiner there with the Spartan Heads there, they were my graduate students during the '94 World Cup. And so it all kind of comes full circle there. You can see down there on the bottom, we've had a strong team at Michigan State, but we got presented with a pretty big challenge. Now, you're going to find out from me is I like to put things in boxes. I like to put things in categories. I like to get my arms around something because if you can do that, you've got a chance. Well, this is the first box I'll show you, and it's kind of the breakdown of the natural turf and the artificial turf stadiums and the different grasses. And that maybe seem like a pretty undaunting thing, but got to remember, you got to remember that FIFA requires grass on all their stadiums. Okay, so it's got to be natural grass. So if you think about that, the first thing I show you is that half of the stadiums don't have natural grass. That meant half of the stadiums has got to have something put in or built inside of them that not only is going to cause, take a lot of resources, they weren't even thought of that they wanted to be natural grass. So it's like sticking a number 12 pill into a number 10 hole. So the first thing I'll tell you is if you look at the right side there where I've got everything dark now, that's what we really focused on. And you also notice that FIFA said, well, you know, you did a pretty good job in '94 with the dome stadium, so we're going to do 5 of them. Right? One's not enough, 5's plenty. But these are where we have the most fans, the most stands, the most people can get in there, so that's where they wanted to do it. If you didn't know this, they were trying to make money at this. So, you know, as we looked at this, I thought, well, you know, when the Superdome did that, we had 68 matches, but they only gave us 4 of them because they said, we're not real sure you're gonna be able to do this. So I said, hey guys, take a look at this and see if with all these temporary fields, do they really want to use them as much as they said? And I'm just gonna tell you right now, yeah, they want to use them in more than half. Okay, so 52, 60, and maybe they don't want to use them at the end of it. No, they want to have 2 semifinal games indoors. Oh, and by the way, the final will be on a temporary field as well. So they didn't build these things to just wave at them. They built them to use. Now, the big thing between 94 and 2026 is that FIFA has gotten very sophisticated. They've got a whole list of requirements that are in front of you on this slide. And it may seem pretty simple if we were sitting in Spartan Stadium or we were sitting in Kansas City, which is outdoors, but when you start trying to put all this indoors for about a 60-day period, there are a lot of questions that start coming into your mind. I'll walk you through a couple of them. But again, let's go back to my box. And I say, okay, folks, we got to really narrow this down, and we want to know how we're going to establish sod, how we're going to do any reconstruction in these stadiums, how we're going to then get the field inside. Now kind of what's going on right now is how are they going to manage this? This is our research center. I'd invite any of you to come at any time, but this was all built. Everything on that asphalt pad was built for this 2026 World Cup. Some of you may recognize that particular footprint because that's where we put the dome for the 94 World Cup as well. So we've had that pad at the research center, and you'll be happy if I tell you is that we have the largest research center in the whole world. 56 acres is the largest continual turf grass research center in the whole world. So how about the sod establishment? That's really something that you've read about, you've heard about, that we did a lot of work in. And that kind of goes to that top field up there is got to have a natural grass surface. So one of the first things it said is, look, there are a lot of fields going to need a lot of grass. We're going to have to grow this faster than you think, and we're going to have to be extremely strong. So we turned to our old friend sod on plastic. Got this introduced to us in 1994 World Cup, so we're very familiar with it. On the left is a sod farm in North Carolina, and that's not soil you're seeing there. That white is a plastic sheet. And so the way you have to think about this is a little bit like pulling a piece of pizza up off the ground, up off a pizza plate, or think about a pot, a plant that's in a pot. You pull a plant out of a pot, what do you see? A bunch of roots wrapped around there. And you feel like you could throw that plant against the wall and it wouldn't break. Now you got sod on plastic, okay? And this sod on plastic is key for us because not only would it be a stronger system, increase sod strength and stability, but we need to know how much faster could we make this. The idea of making it in 12 months, 14 months, 16 months, no. We need it in 4 months. We need this to be ready in 4 months. And so, if you can do that, if you can do something like that, you get to what we call a farm to stadium, where you literally are wrapping this up, pulling this off that pizza plate, putting it in a big roll sod, rolling it out, and it's 3.5 feet wide, and it's 40 feet long, and it weighs 3,000 pounds, and I don't know anybody that could lift it. But then you rock it right to the stadium and you lay it down and you're playing that day. Okay? Yeah, that's cool. That is cool, right? And it's changed the world. So one of the things that we needed to do was, again, figure out how to speed it up. And this is Jackie Guevara on the right there. She was a PhD student for me during this time. Now she's assistant professor here as she's taken on a position to help us out with our teaching. And her job was to come up with the ratio that was going to give us both the strength and the speed. And I think the football team was looking for those kind of people, strength and speed. But at the same time, came up with that ratio, and we gave that to the sod farms, and they planted it. And as they planted it, and we began to test it, we realized that we could cut this down to about 4 months. Now there's Jackie, see if I can get that to work. You can see her there with Jake Kilby, who now actually went to school with us and now is working for FIFA, so he got to fulfill his dream. See, when you come to Michigan State, you get to fulfill your dreams, and that's what those people are doing right there. If you want to go on that QR code, you can see that paper that she has done, because it's one thing to have done it for the World Cup. It's another thing to publish it for the world to use. And that's what we like to do. And so that's always our goals, the trickle-down effect. How's this going to affect the Michigan high schools is what I always say. Now, cool story that I don't tell very often, I need to tell more often, is our Mexico City. Because if you watched last night, if you saw the game last night, you saw that game was on an impeccable field. It was beautiful. They've done a great job. I don't even know who won. I don't care most of it. Because the thing was is that grass that was in there beforehand was a kikuyu grass, which is really a inferior, a dog grass, I call it. That's my slang term. It's not used, it can't be used for soccer fields. As a matter of fact, that grass is that it holds the distinction of the only grass that the NFL has ever canceled a game on in Mexico City. I should have put that picture in there, but we got to get them to change that grass. And the thing is, that's the group that you have to convince them. They have to tell you they want to change. So we got a problem. And so what do? And there's the grass in Kikuyu, it's this big fat blade, and nobody really likes it. It's, the ball can't be predicted on it, and they complain about it all the time, but they never change it. Well, our data says, look, you are a perfect scenario, even though you're 4 hours from the equator, you're 7,200 feet in elevation. You never get hot. You are perfect for a cool season grass. We just have to convince you to do this. So we said, well, how are we going to convince them? Oh, well, you do the smart thing. You send the students down there. and we did. And we sent the students down there with only the idea. Somebody mentioned students earlier. I said, I couldn't agree more. But what was the idea? The idea was to show them silently, show them quietly, this was the great choice for them. So we established sod-on plastic. They put it out. They grew it for about 4 months there, and you can see it grew in nicely. Then the staff from Azteca rolled it up. They put it out in their own stadium and tested it in the various spots that are sitting there. They ran all through the winter, and the grass held up so much better than what they normally had. And you see the guy who's got circled there. That's Jose Castillo, who I've gotten to know very well. But until he said yes, it didn't matter what the rest of us were saying. Well, he said yes, and so it's like, this is perfect. And so now we're going to be able to build, and we did build back in December. We stitched it up, we seeded it, they grew it in, got it done in 90 days. That 90-day period is something that Michigan State developed a long time ago of how to quickly move in grass. So they followed that. I was down there. Yeah, I flew down there. I think I flew down there twice for a 15-minute meeting. So, but there they were, and February, and then in March, and actually Infantino came in and actually gave the field manager a kiss. I'm not sure how he reacted to that, but at the same time, there it is in May, and you saw him play last night, and you saw him play last night. So they couldn't be more proud, and Mexico City couldn't be more proud. So that was an extension to the world, or an international work into the world. So very, very, very proud of that. I don't tell that story. I need to tell it a little more often. The other thing that's really cool, or that I'm going to try to make you the smartest person in the room for the next 3 or 4 weeks, right? So when you start talking to people, I'm going to tell you what's happening. So the first one is in any game that you're going to watch, the turf has been reinforced with some sort of artificial fiber. And that is because FIFA says, and I don't disagree, that the amount of traffic that is on one game is equal to one Super Bowl. That's not the play as much as it is everything else. Everybody wanting to walk out there, practicing the rehearsals, They had Rihanna out there yesterday, so all that stuff puts a toll on the turf. So in some of these stadiums, not going to have one Super Bowl, they're going to have 9. So FEMA says, now we're going to stitch this, now we're going to reinforce it. There's 2 types of reinforcement. One is called the stitching, which you saw in that picture, where it's literally a machine that pushes down into the ground. It's like a big sewing machine. There it is, and it stitches. Now it's meant to actually stitch after you put the sod in. You can go before, but you're meant to. So we would bring the sod in, then stitch it. And so here's your trivia. 13 of the 16 stadiums are going to be stitched. And so you can see which ones they are, and no quiz at the end of this. Here's a cool picture because of what was going on in Toronto last December. They were laying the sod, they were top dressing, and they were stitching all at the same time. So this is a very, very sophisticated industry that has been doing this work. This is the other one. There are 3 stadiums that went ahead and put in a carpet. And the difference is the carpet is actually developed at the sod farm. Okay? So when you got to bring the carpet, when you're going to take the sod from point A to point B, if you want to use the carpet. And so there's 3 stadiums that use that. That's in Philadelphia, that's in Los Angeles, and that's in Vancouver.
Why would they choose that versus stitching?
Because they could.
Is it more expensive?
A little bit. I think it's better. Doesn't matter what I think at that point. I voiced my opinion. I researched both of them. I said they'll both work. And then you get to choose. So I haven't really said this, but this is the difference in the last 2 World Cups. If you think about where the World Cup in 2018 was, it was in Russia. If you think about where the World Cup in 2022 was, it was in Qatar. One guy made all the decisions. I'm going to just tell you that's the way it went. If he wanted everything to look alike, it looked alike. There's 16 teams united in this one, right? Every city could do whatever they wanted to do because every city was essentially paying for it. So our job made our job bigger, wider, our scope much bigger. So this is how you would do it if you were in a sod farm. You would lay that carpet down, then you'd backfill and you'd stitch up. And so it takes more work at the beginning, but I think these 3 stadiums are going to have an easier time of it. It doesn't matter what I think, but I thought I'd show you something that's really cool again about MSU is that in 2021, if you said how many people are growing sod on plastic in the United States, this is my answer right here. And again, we had to introduce sod on plastic to FIFA because this is a United States thing. It is not done around the world. This is a US thing only. So one of the things I knew was important early was we needed to get the sod producers around the United States to get involved in this. So we held a field day. And they all showed up at our research center in July of 23. FIFA shows up, everybody shows up. And so look at this next picture. This, I get afraid to touch this thing. This is how many sod farms there are now in 2025, so you can see the increase. Most cool one there, see the one that's right there in Michigan, right, where it says DeBuck Sod Farm. I'll show you a little bit later how they're going to be in the game, and another one from Michigan. So this is just a great way. It's a, it's a high-value crop, so to speak. But look what Michigan State has done toward pushing this outward. So now we got in. I'll just share with you a couple minutes the last 3 months, which has basically been installing the pitches. And again, where are you worried about them? You're worried about the ones on the right. The ones on the left, they kind of know what they're doing. They've had grass in them forever, so they're pretty simple. First thing to me was the sod delivery logistics. Okay, so we had 9 sod farms around the United States or in North America that we used. And some of these were pretty short hauls. Okay, like Boss Sod up there on the left, go to BC Place. It's about an hour. To take Lincoln Financial Field from Tuckahoe, about 30 minutes. So some of these were pretty short. Some of them were a little bit longer, like this group out of Carolina Green had to go to MetLife and Arrowhead Stadium. Some of them were even longer, so you can see now that we got things over 2,000 miles that we would haul this sod. Well, that's the beauty of sod on plastic, is because you're not putting it under any physiological shock when you pick it up. It can travel a long ways, and it can be laid down, and it can play the next day. So really a lot of people being introduced to this, and I can assure you the next 2 people that are running the World Cup are watching this intently. So now, we're watching all these people build these stadiums. And so here's a couple. This is BC Place in Vancouver. I mean, they start with a blank canvas and have to basically build a field over a 3-week period. And you can see that they lay down a base and they bring in a root zone. They have to put down an irrigation system. They have to temporarily build what's called a vacuum ventilation system. Yes, I feel the same way. We're building a vacuum ventilation system in a place where it's not going to rain. Yeah, I get it. So, again, I told you I was not in charge. But here's something we were in charge of, and this was telling them what kind of lights, the amount of light and the amount of lighting. And one of the things we told them is, you're in the dark. You need to put these lights on immediately. Our research shows that if you don't put this right light on immediately, it's a little bit like when the doctor says, gets you up and says, you just had surgery, you're walking today. You're walking today, and we have a reason for it. So we had the same idea. So it's pretty good, and so far everybody has followed exactly what we wanted to. It's pink at night because that's LED lighting, and you can see that it provides for an interesting thing. Who's the hero of this whole thing? It's Jerry Jones, interestingly. Why? If you'll notice that everybody else has wheels, Jerry said, I'm not doing that. I'm going to put mine on wires. I'm going to lower mine from the ceiling. And he doesn't have any tracks. And so I think he's kind of looking in the future myself. But if you did have wheels and you did have ceiling, you still got to be able to have a clearing. So it was very, very busy in there during there. Now that field has to be stitched in Mercedes-Benz. So these were pictures that I would get every day, or I was there myself taking these pictures. Pretty sophisticated operations just to get us ready for the end of May. So we're there now. That picture is kind of the, if you ever, somebody says, well, how long did this take? Well, how did you divide it up? There it is, kind of the stadium testing, the sod installation. This is all the research, the chart here that kind of shows you how we got down there. University of Tennessee, of course, our partners, my great friends, they did a lot of the work in the lighthouse, because that's where the lighthouse was built. So this is where we came up with the recipes. So this is kind of the end of it, unless you give me 2 more minutes, because I want to show you the coolest part of this. The coolest part of this we didn't use. Okay? The coolest part of this is still to come. And because the cooler part of this is, how are you going to, what is the future of putting in temporary turf? Because in a temporary turf situation, you can say, Atlanta, is that a temporary turf? Well, we built a full field. Okay? We started in April, and we got it ready by the 1st of June. There's no stadium that wants to give up a multi-use stadium for 60 days. This is a one-time thing, and they rented it out. No, don't think that way. Think about, how can I have a temporary natural grass surface and be just the same as moving in and out for a monster truck show. Okay? So, this is the proposed shallow turf profile. This is what we got a chance to research, us in Tennessee, and we wanted to, and we did. And one of the things that we were able to figure out quickly is there is a product called Permavoid, and I'll show you some better pictures, but we'll cover it up with a piece of geotextile. We'll bring in our sod on plastic, and the athlete thinks they're playing on 6 inches of root zone. The athlete thinks they're playing on the exact thing that they're going to play on in the World Cup. Well, really, can you really prove that? Yeah, we got a chance to prove it, because FIFA paid the money for us to put this field in for a game between Mexico and Canada. Then we proved it a couple more times last summer, because everybody loves this. And so here's and I don't know, this is the way this went in AT&T Stadium. So if you were with me that time, you can see. That's what I was trying to keep from happening. You want to touch that instead of me?
Yep.
So there's the permavoid going in, there's the geotextile, there's the sod coming in over the top, and that was all done in 48 hours, not 4 weeks. Okay? And there's the difference. Now all of a sudden you can see how I can have a Taylor Swift concert on Tuesday and play on a perfect field on Saturday. Now you might ask a couple of questions. You say, was that stuff easy to lift? That's a guy holding, a 4x6 sheet. It might weigh 4 pounds. Well, I don't know. Can you drive things? Oh, you can drive a Mack truck on those things. Okay? We tested all that. That was long tested by us before we ever even got into the game. So what's really cool is it takes you 2 days to bring it in, and then once you bring it in, and that's as simple as it is right there. You see it on the right? You watch a kid drop the ball. The ball's supposed to come up to your waist to give you an idea. Watch this, and it got laid in the turf that day. Boom. So, and did the players like it? The players played hard. They didn't know they weren't on anything. Okay? They know when they're on something that's just been laid on top of concrete because their feet feel it. Their feet couldn't feel this. And again, they played it out. So this is the most exciting thing for me, as much as I'd love to tell you about how much we've done up till now to get ready. This was the coolest part. And then the final thing is, which everybody likes the most, and if you're marketing for this stadium, the final thing that everybody loves is that takes about 9 hours to take out. Yeah, that's right. So now I'm turning the field around. So if you're the marketer for that stadium, you just look at that and go, holy crap, this is a game changer. Yeah, because now we can play on grass, we can have our cake, and eat it too. Okay. Too long,
Hey, that was fantastic, and we have time for a few questions.
So with that last one you showed us that you could pull it up in
right.
Where does the grass go, and is it reusable? Do you store it someplace, or is it a one-time?
No, I got to tell you that my vision right now is that grass, you treat that grass like a compostable thing, and so basically you don't spend a lot of time, a lot of money, you don't stitch it, you don't do anything like that. You think, I only need this to last 2, 3, 4 games, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So it just goes right back to the compost. So what you have is you have a sod farm down the road who's going to bring in another one. And you think, well, that's novel. No, it's not novel. They've been doing it in Miami, putting in a field every month for 15 years. Okay, so we didn't invent anything there. But we are inventing something to go into a place that is not meant for natural grass necessarily. Yes.
Okay, as someone who is so soccer fan, but a huge football fan,
Right.
how can we use this technology, or can we, to ultimately reverse the trend toward artificial turf, right? There's been improvements in that, of course. And when you think about long-term concussive effects and players falling, I don't think there's any better surface than natural turf for football. Is there a way to use the growth of this technology, both in college and pro football, to kind of go back to more natural surfaces in that sport?
That is the only reason we did this work. Okay, that is the only reason. That was exactly what we had in the front of our mind. You know, the National Football League Players Association wants to talk about it, and will as soon as this is over with. And so I do think that this is you could say, could you put this in something like the field? And my answer is, this is exactly what we had in mind right here. That's exactly what we had in mind. So we got a chance to study it, right? I mean, FIFA funded this, and they like the idea of temporary fields as well, right? You know, they just assumed they wouldn't mind building a temporary field sometimes in downtown Manhattan, right? From a publicity standpoint, it's a great thing for them. So everybody likes this, and yes, if I'm allowed to stay around here at this university, I've got some ideas. We're going to do. Yes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. My question has to do with opportunities for non-professional athletes. So we've got lots of kids playing on artificial turf.
Right.
We have lots of high schools who don't have opportunities for this. And we chatted a little bit last night about the impact on athletes' recovery when you're looking at artificial turf versus natural turf, natural grass. And when we think about our youth, they're growing, and the impact on their bodies during that time, during those developmental periods, can be, pretty important. If you think about longevity, if you think about resilience, if you think about, health promoting activities. And so tell us a little bit about the potential benefits of this as we think about the potential opportunities to translate it for more health promoting, resilience building activities for our youth, and if you see that there's an opportunity for translation.
Well, I do think that this work can translate to this, but I also think that is a slightly separate project that I'm just as excited about, that might keep me here for 10 more years, but I don't know if I can take it. My point is that all I'm going to say is that if you play on natural grass versus artificial turf, you recover so much slower after you play on artificial turf. We know that, all right? And I think the medical community, particularly those that study pain, our friends down in Ann Arbor have a wonderful one, and then with our orthopedic surgeons, I've got some ideas of how we could have a wonderful project going that could really, could really identify, are there long-term negative to kids playing on these surfaces, right? And that's really the key to this whole thing, right? I mean, somebody says, well, why don't we study the elite athlete? I said, I don't want to study the elite athlete. That doesn't mean anything. That they have a band about that wide. Let me study the high school athlete. And so that will be where we go. And that will be, that's like an NIH funding, kind of gets out of my league in a hurry. You got to have a lot of help from a lot of people, but that's the idea. So big project, big ideas, but what better place to do it than here, right?
Whoa. Just whoa. So there's a few things I want to say. Where are you from?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. You said you've been here since 1988.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just in Southwest Michigan, mostly?
No, I live in East Lansing.
Oh, you do?
Southwest Michigan is my favorite part of this state.
Okay.
This is where I like to come to relax. A lot of people like to go to Northern Michigan, obviously, for a lot of great reasons and everything, and I don't mind going. I mean, I like going to Northern Michigan. But I'm also just as much, if somebody says, well, where do you want to go relax? I say, wherever there's a golf course, too.
So I just appreciate this presentation so much. One, I always think it's the mark of a great scholar who can translate their work into regular language, right? That we can all understand. You say it so entertainingly. Like I was cracking up the whole time. Even your face when you can't advance the screen. It's hilarious. No one can see, I don't think, but I can see you were just personable and knowledgeable, but also relatable, and I just appreciate that. I think you are not just a national treasure, you're an international gem, because you're doing work that goes way beyond the United States and puts MSU on an international map, and I'm just grateful to you.
You're very kind with that.
No, I'm not, actually.
I will point out, though, that it is a big time. There's a lot of help from a lot of people, a lot of dedicated people that have gone on and become superstars at other schools. So that's probably people. If you want to get me to cry, you ask me about my students.
That was going to be my second point. That was going to be my second point. So on all your slides, I pay attention to what people put on. You weren't in any of the slides. Your students were featured throughout all of your presentation, and your passion for the work is so commendable, but your commitment to your students is what I appreciated the very most about your presentation.
Thank you. We don't get very far without them, I will assure you of that. That's for sure.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. we'll be looking for that Spartan head logo as we're watching FIFA. I know it's going to show up all over the networks. Thank you, Dr. Rogers. That was fantastic. So with that, we're going to turn to our committee reports, and I'm going to ask for Trustee Pierce to provide the committee report on budget and finance. Trustee Pierce.
Thank you. All right, so Stephen Fletcher already in the consent agenda, he covered number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the Budget and Finance Committee. And I'm going to go through number 1. So before the board today is the Michigan State University operating budget for the upcoming fiscal year 2027, which begins on July 1st of this year. The operating budget recommendation includes revenue and expenditure totals for the major fund groups, as well as the administration's recommended tuition and fee rates. The Board of Trustees approves the operating budget annually, and we must approve any proposed changes to tuition and mandatory fee rates. The budget should be seen as a plan, providing the institution with a roadmap for the entire year. However, it should be noted that several significant influences remain unknown at this time. One such influence is the state of Michigan budget, which has yet to be finalized. As a public institution, the partnership that the state provides as an element of the university's annual operating budget is absolutely a critical component to the success of our students, our faculty, and our staff. The university's budget proposal aligns with the governor's initial budget recommendation, which maintains a $9.7 million one-time operations appropriation. That's a flat appropriation from last year, no increase. The lack of increased funding combined with the one-time nature of a portion of the funding creates uncertainty, and it requires the trustees to consider increased tuition rates to address funding needs to support our students. I want to remind you that over 70% of Michigan State students are from Michigan. More than 37,000 students at the start of last fall semester, and over 60% of our graduates stay within the state. A lack of state funding directly impacts Michiganders and their families. Additionally, compensation increases for represented faculty remain to be determined and are reflected actually as TBD, pending the outcome of those negotiations. Similarly, compensation increases for non-represented faculty and staff will be finalized over the summer. I appreciate that the administration is committed to ensuring a smooth and equitable merit process. While those uncertainties remain, the administration has proposed an all-funds operating budget assuming $3.806 billion of anticipated sources and projected expenditures of $3.818 billion, which will be updated upon the completion of the collective bargaining. This will result in a modest central deficit. The deficit will be corrected through a combination of one-time revenues and or the use of our reserves. Nearly half of the revenue to support the institution's operations comes from student tuition, fees, and state appropriations. For the coming academic year, tuition rates will increase by $370 per semester, or $740 per year for all full-time students. For part-time students, the rates assessed per credit hour will have a commensurate increase. Tuition for graduate students who are assessed tuition on an hourly basis will see a $41 per credit hour increase. For resident undergraduate students, the proposed increase in tuition and fees equates to an average across all tuition levels of 3.99%. I know that these proposed changes have real and meaningful impact on our students and their families. Every trustee recognizes that. The administration and the board don't take the decisions lightly. We have had tremendous and long-winded conversations. The university is doing its part to contain costs. Across last fiscal year and this upcoming year, the university is working to implement a 9% general fund budget reduction with $50 million in general fund savings in fiscal 26 and another $25 million in savings planned for fiscal year 27. The administration is also working to identify additional areas of operational efficiency and more cost savings. The university's budget directly supports the exceptional education our students receive, our outstanding faculty and staff who are also the core of the Spartan community. The budget before us today balances the need for increased resources to support our students, cost containment actions, and investments in our future. As a result, the university's financial foundation remains strong and supporting long-term financial stability for our future. As chairperson of the Trustee Budget and Finance Committee, I move that the Board of Trustees of Michigan State University hereby adopts the attached Michigan State University fiscal year 2027 operating budget, including tuition and fee rates for the 2026-2027 academic year as presented, and be it further resolved that the administration is directed to implement the Michigan State University fiscal year 2027 operating budget. If the rates approved herein exceed the legislative cap once established, the administration is further directed to adjust resident undergraduate tuition rates to comply with the cap. And Lisa Frace is also, she's our CFO. Her and her team put this together, the budget together. Thank you so much, Lisa, to you and your team. She is available if questions arise, because I guarantee you I will not know the answers.
Okay. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second. Okay. And so, any discussion? And Lisa Frace is available if there are questions.
I just want to thank Lisa Frace and her team. That's, again, I always think someone who's good at their job can talk in real language to people who do not know numbers. I'm an English major, so I don't know where Lisa Frace is. Oh, there you are. Thank you for you and your team's work. You've done a lot of pondering around this, but also in order to make us understand, you took a lot of time to do that, and I just appreciate you and your leadership.
I agree with all that. I'd also like to compliment Trustee Pierce for running the Budget and Finance Committee in a very professional and succinct way that brings a lot of visibility to this. This is one of the most important things that we do, obviously, and it's a struggle. You know, we have a lot of things working against one another right now. In many ways, and I've said this before, higher education in this country has reached a point where the model is starting to crack in terms of how it's traditionally been funded and how it needs to be funded over the next 50 years. Case in point, you know, I believe this is a semester where there's going to be limits on the Parent Plus loan program, where certain families will be capped at, I think, a $20,000 level, where they could have borrowed more. This probably affects our out-of-state students more than our in-state students, which is a group that we're focused on retaining, as well as our international students. And so it's tough, right? This is what keeps you up at night, this kind of stuff, because there are a lot of students in the state who are first-gen college students whose families are working 2 jobs and sometimes 3 to keep them through here. And so no tuition increase is to be taken lightly. However, because of all the things Trustee Pierce said, I think we're at a point now where we as a board have sat through, I mean, I've been through this twice now, and we sit through a lot of interesting slides, which are database, which tell the story about the model cracking, in particular here in Michigan, and what Michigan State does for what, like the value that we provide versus what we get in appropriations. And one of the suggestions that we had is we need to really package that so that the average student or average person in the state of Michigan understands how the bills are actually paid at Michigan State. Now, I submit to you that it's impossible to get the average person in the state of Michigan to understand pretty much anything. However, you can always move the ball down the field in a way that is educational, so that when people are looking at who they're going to vote for instance, for members of the state legislature, for U.S. Congress, that this is something that is on their mind, because if we're going to compete as a state, we've got to figure this out, because Michigan State is such an engine for our state, both economically in terms of the research and then the value we provide with our four-year degree. Having said all of that, and I want to be clear about this, I'm not in favor of the 4% increase, because I think that it is going to put a burden on some of our students, coupled with that loan limitation and coupled with some of the other fee increases that we're putting through. It's going to be tough, but I understand the rationale for doing it, and if it passes, I'm fully supportive of it. But I'm a no vote on this, just in its form at the current level of 4%. But I pledge to all of my fellow colleagues that this is something that, based on what I just said, we all need to internalize the data that we saw on those slides and push forward into the state to get a greater understanding. So if people really want to have healthy four-year research institutions, they need to take a hard look at how the people in Lansing are funding us and getting us what we need to do what we're expected to do. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, then we'll call the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
No.
And I believe Trustee Kanaki Jefferson was a yay.
Yes, I raised my hand, but I'm
Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry, I was not looking that direction, but thank you. So Stephan, you have the...
Yeah, it's 5 to 2.
Abstentions.
I think you called for abstentions and there was.
I'll do it again just to be clear.
Yeah.
Any abstentions? Hearing none, thank you. Okay.
The committee also received an update on the capital projects. Board of Trustees authorized for planning and reviewed our, our liquidity pools report and the annual endowment trust and other operating reporting. So again, thank you, Lisa, to you and your entire team for all of the work, and this includes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Pierce. Stephan, everything else was covered in the consent agenda, is that correct?
We have we should go academic affairs as sort of next for any report out that trustee.
Right, I just wanted to be sure on those other actions, they were all in
correct.
consent. Okay,
Yes,
great,
budget
thank you.
finance,
Okay,
yeah.
with that, we'll turn to the Committee on Academic Affairs, Trustee Renee Kanaki Jefferson.
Yes, thank you. And so our one action item was indeed also covered in the consent agenda. So I have a very brief report to share, which is that our other work as a committee included receiving a presentation on the comprehensive MSU strategic enrollment plan. And we also received a unionization update, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Kanaki Jefferson. We'll now turn to the committee report on audit, risk, and compliance. Chair Brianna Scott.
Thank you. The Audit, Risk, and Compliance Committee had action items that were part of the consent agenda and have already been approved. And so I will then move on to the second item, which is related to the Board of Trustees Code of Ethics and Conduct Statement of Acknowledgement. There was a resolution that was posted and also in the board portal. As chairperson of the Trustee Committee on Audit, Risk, and Compliance, I move that the Board of Trustees of Michigan State University adopts the specified actions in consideration of certain trustees' failure to comply with the Statement of Acknowledgement requirement contained in the Board of Trustees Code of Ethics and Conduct. For reference, the specified actions are contained in Attachment A, which is appended to this resolution.
Is there a second to the motion?
So moved.
Discussion.
Yes, if I may. So this will be one that I will not support, and I did some research that I'd like to share. And the research that I did was to see if having such a signature of affirmation requirement for something called a code of ethics was unique in the sense that if you didn't sign it for stated reasons, that there would be automatic penalties. And what I found was that, yes, what we are doing here is not only fairly unique, it may be unique. Experts in higher education governance have stated that they are aware of no other university in the United States with the policy that mirrors Michigan State University's combination of a mandatory signature deadline and automatic penalties for elected trustees. While other universities have code of ethics and general duty of loyalty clauses, the specific mechanism MSU adopted in May of 2026 requiring trustees to sign a pledge by a specific date or face immediate removal from leadership posts and loss of resources appears to be without precedent. Here's how MSU's policy compares to the closest equivalents at other universities. The MSU sign or else mechanism, trustees are required to sign by a specific deadline, which is May 24th. Failure to sign results in automatic, italicized sanctions without a hearing. These include removal from committees, chairships, loss of travel reimbursements, revocation of tickets to events, and referral to, well, in that case, that's not true right there, because that hasn't happened. Critics and experts have explicitly compared this to a loyalty oath and confirmed they know of no other university enforcing such a policy. Standard affirmation policies, which are more common, are such that at the University of Florida, trustees are required to affirm in writing on an annual basis their commitment to the ethics policy. This is typically a standard compliance form for a conflict of interest disclosure. No problem there. Difference, there is no automatic public censure or triggered penalties simply for not signing. University of North Carolina and others, trustees often take a state-mandated oath to uphold the Constitution, a true public office oath, but this is different from a board-specified code demanding loyalty to the, quote, majority decision. Other universities have had similar controversies, though. At the New College of Florida, a newly appointed conservative majority on the Board of Trustees was accused by faculty and students of demanding ideological loyalty to a new mission. The difference here was the loyalty was enforced through firing the president and denying tenure to faculty, not by forcing the trustees themselves to sign a pledge under a threat of removal. North Idaho College, this institution faced accreditation warnings due to a board infighting and allegations of a takeover by a specific political bloc. Difference was the conflict involved trustees resigning or being pressured out, but there was no formal code of ethics document used as the primary weapon to silencing dissenting trustees. The MSU amendment effectively converts a standard ethical guideline into a compliance weapon designed specifically to silence or punish dissenting members of an elected body, which is why it is being viewed as a unique anomaly in American higher education. And lastly, I will say what I said last week, which for those that aren't aware, we have an oath that we take upon entering this office, and it reads as follows. All officers, legislative, executive, and judicial, before entering upon the duties of their respective offices, shall take and subscribe the following oath or affirmation. Remember, I said affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Michigan State University trustee according to the best of my ability. Our state constitution goes further. Article 11, Section 1, quote, no other oath, affirmation, or any religious test shall be required as a qualification for any office or public trust. So, while it is legitimate that the board may take actions and modify its code of ethics, of course, and that code would be binding on the board, there cannot be a signature requirement with automatic penalties. Further, as stated before, we can and should have a robust code of ethics. We already had one. None of us are able to profit from our seats up here. None of us should enter into conflicts of interest where we have business dealings which conflict with the university, and all of us take that seriously. But taking that and turning it into what it's become, where we have to fear interacting with people outside of the boardroom in terms of what we could or might say would get us in trouble, is not something any of us should have to operate under. So I urge the board to reconsider and take me up on the original offer I said, where if this is supposed to be good policy, it should go through committee, it should be benchmarked against our peer institutions, and it should receive a robust, written, independent legal review, which to date it has not. For all those reasons and more, I'm a no vote on this. Thank you.
I too am a no vote. One, I've never voted to censure any of my colleagues. I don't think that that is our role to police one another. I think all of my colleagues are professionals and worthy of their own personal conduct, being basically policed by themselves. Police is just, and that's not the word I want to use, but you all know how to act, so just act like you got good sense. That's what I would think. So I didn't sign this revised code of ethics and conduct that the MSU Board of Trustees approved last month, and I want to be clear why I did not. The Michigan Constitution, Article 11, Section 1 is unambiguous. No other oath, affirmation, or any other religious test shall be required as a qualification for any office or public trust. In essence, when I became an elected board official, I did not give up my American right to freedom of speech. I didn't say, oh, yes, now I will not talk about anything that I would like to talk about. And I don't have the benefit of the constitutional rights because I have become an elected official. It's ridiculous. I took my constitutional oath when the people of Michigan elected me. That is the oath I serve. No additional loyalty pledge, no matter how it's labeled, is constitutionally permissible for an elected official of this state. I won't sign it. And this is not really a governance dispute, it's a constitutional question. And it's not a moral question, it is a constitutional question, and it has immediate concrete consequences. Within hours of my refusal to sign, this board, my colleagues, revoked my registration for the Mackinac Policy Conference. A registration that was paid in full, in advance, and was non-refundable. So it was applied retroactively, immediately, as punishment. And this year's conference was important. There were so many people who came back and were energized by it. It was one of the more diverse conferences I heard, but also it centered education as a primary policy focus. I am the only educator on this board who actually studies education, and my ability to attend and participate in that conversation on behalf of the students and families of Michigan was taken from me as a punishment for exercising my constitutional rights. That's not governance, it's retaliation. And I'm familiar with retaliation. What this board has done sets a dangerous precedent, not only for this board, but for every elected governing board in the state. If a public university can sanction an elected official for refusing to sign a loyalty pledge, the principle of free democratic representation is at risk. Today it's me, tomorrow it could be anyone. We've seen this slippery slope several times throughout history. McCarthyism, we've seen it with loyalty oaths in different states. It's just, this idea of the press not being free, all of these are conditions, they're really Trumpian in nature, and I don't know why this board would do something like this. Multiple First Amendment scholars, even the vice president of the Freedom Forum, they've said publicly they've never seen anything like it. Like, this has not been implemented anywhere. Michigan is one of a handful of states in the country where university trustees are elected by a statewide vote. We are constitutional officers. What's happening right now is unprecedented, it's unconstitutional, and it must be addressed. I've called on several people, including the Attorney General, to review this policy for its constitutionality. I'm asking the legislature to examine what oversight mechanisms exist and what new ones can be necessary to protect elected officials from institutional retaliation for the exercise of their constitutional rights. I'm here because the people of Michigan deserve elected representatives who can speak freely about the issues and concerns that put them here. I was put here to raise hard questions. I think that no trustee should be silenced by the institutions they are sworn to govern. And I always say this, Zora Neale Hurston is one of my favorite authors, and I used to teach English. Still an English teacher at heart. And she said, if you are silent about your pain, they will kill you and say you enjoyed it. I will never be silent, and I can't be silenced I'll never diminish myself. Can't do it. And I won't stop asking the questions that this institution or any other entity doesn't want to be asked. I also believe wholeheartedly that these questions lead to knowledge. And I believe knowledge is power. I think power is freedom, and I want us all to be free.
Are there any other? Trustee Barber.
Thank you. I think that the last two comments deserve a response from somebody who feels the opposite side of that. And I don't see this as us policing each other. I see this as a governing board governing each other. We do not have any other recourse but to govern ourselves, because that is what we do. So, you know, there are 6 of us who've agreed to sign it. It does not prohibit free speech. It allows people to talk in committee, right here on the board floor, in the work session. What we have done through this change is to tell a minority contingent of the board that they do not have the right to re-examine and stop progress moving forward if they do not get their way. It is impossible if we have board members continuing to undermine majority decisions, stop us from moving forward. And it's my understanding too that the AG has already responded to Trustee Vassar's request and came back with, that would be our attorney who would give that advice to us. Our attorney who helped write the changes in the policy. So to say that it hasn't been reviewed would not be true. The university's attorney has reviewed it. And so I just think it's really important that, you know, both sides of the story are told.
I have a short response.
Sorry.
Go ahead. You can go.
Chair Scott.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, not only has the General Counsel's office, who helped draft the amended language, provided counsel regarding the legality of the language that has been used, but in addition to that, we also received an independent legal opinion, which also indicated that this is constitutional, and that was independent. So it was outside counsel that also indicated that what we have done is within our authority and is also constitutional. So I wanted to add to that. Thank you.
But just to add that I asked to see that independent evaluation and it was not provided. So I have no idea who did it or what it says. And I'd be welcome to read, or I would be happy to read that if it was provided.
Just a few things. One, this policy, the rules change mid-air, right? Oh, we need to go through committee, we need to go through process. All of that gets abandoned when the majority decides that they want to silence a minority. That's not democratic, it's not American, but it's disingenuous to say that you have a process and then disregard it on the very policy that would make sure that you have voice in a process. I mean, it's hypocritical. But this was done in the cover of night with very little scrutiny and certainly no review before you all decided to vote on it. And it didn't go through a committee process, which it should have. Good governance mandates that. The other part is this idea that, you know, if you lose a vote, then you can't say anything else about it, is remarkable. So you would say a legislator decides that they don't agree with the policy. They vote against the policy. The policy gets passed, and then they can't say anything else about it ever. That doesn't make any sense. And what you're also saying is all of the experiences that I've had on this board, I'm not supposed to talk about because they're done. They're in the past. You can't speak about them. You can't silence folks like this. It's not good governance, but it's not even collegial. The last thing, I don't know what progress has been impeded. thank you, Stephan, for the tracker you've given us of resolutions. I think there's been more than 150 resolutions that have been proposed and passed while President Guskowitz has been here. Over 150. And there have been 6 that weren't passed unanimously. All of them passed. Every single one of them passed. Even when there was dissent, there wasn't a unanimous vote. That passed, and that was like 6 votes. So I'm not sure what progress has been impeded. If people say that they have a problem with something that is happening at the university, they shouldn't be silenced. I would also say that the 3 op-eds that I wrote were not about policy changes. It was about a whole structural dismantling of DEI. It was not about a policy. We didn't vote on what I talked about. So I'm still not understanding clearly how I'm censured today for not signing a piece of paper. I don't think it's good governance. I don't think it's collegial behavior. And I want to go on record saying I've never voted to sanction or censure any of my colleagues, even when they did that to me.
So if I can, I just want to say that exactly what is happening today, I really encourage. This is a public board meeting, and we're discussing a very serious issue. And this is where it should be done. All of you have access to it. It's being shown publicly. And this kind of a disagreement and agreement is exactly where it should happen. My issue is taking it outside into environments that don't have the context of what all of you have and anybody watching has today. That's my issue.
Thank you.
One more comment, please. I'm sorry. Can I just say my comment, Trustee Baraka? Of course. Because I just want the facts out there to be good facts, right? We all want to have the same information. We don't want misinformation out there that there was not an independent legal decision that was done by outside counsel that indicated that we have the authority to do what we are doing and that it was within the Constitution. Trustee Balo just indicated that has not happened. He has not received it. And the facts are that he did. I'm looking at the email right now. He received it along with everyone of here on this panel and trustees T-Bay, Zimke, and Kanaki Jefferson on May 19th. I believe the only trustee that may not have received it due to some internal things that were going on with the legal demand was Trustee Vassar. So it is in fact not true that there was not an independent legal evaluation of this that told us that this is constitutional. Thank you.
So trustees, can you be recognized by the chair, just so that we keep in order here, and just remember there is a 2 sort of, speeches per motion limit. So
okay, those were my 2
I'm
comments. Can we take Bahar Cook and then Trustee Kanaki Jefferson? Trustee Kanaki Jefferson?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to, I won't reiterate, but I will just join in support of the comments from Trustee Bahar Cook, from Trustee Scott, and Trustee Pierce. They all made points that I had planned to make. And then I also just want to add to that the following. So first, I want to correct the misinformation that our vote on the revised code of conduct happened under the dark of night. We had asked to actually convene as a board on a Friday, and then some of our colleagues wanted more time, which is why we moved the meeting to Sunday. During that time, there was opportunity to give feedback, and in fact, there were revisions made based on that feedback. So that was the reason for the delay. But more importantly, if you have not had the opportunity to read an article by Dr. Victor Derrida that appeared in the Lansing State Journal recently, you should do so. I don't know Dr. Derrida personally. I don't believe we've ever met, but his article entitled Duty of Loyalty is Governance 101 for University Board Members is spot on. Dr. Derrida is the Rudolph Hugh Endowed Chair in Microbial Pathogenesis and the Chair of the Department of Microbiology, Genetics, and Immunology at Michigan State University. And I'm not going to read the whole article to you. You can certainly read it yourself. but I want to emphasize a few points that he makes because I think they are relevant to this conversation here and our vote. He noted that the Code of Ethics, with its, quote, duty of loyalty, has become a point of resistance for some board members, and in fact, that's exactly what we're debating here publicly today. In his words, the duty of loyalty is being equated to a loyalty oath or a gag order with all the negative implications inherent in such terms. And then he goes on to explain that, in fact, duty of loyalty is a standard governance expectation for members of fiduciary bodies like the Michigan State University Board of Trustees. Any board member of a university or nonprofit has a similar duty of loyalty expectation. This is not a suppression of speech or dissent in any way. It means acting on behalf of the best interests of the university. And I want to take a moment just to mention that I myself am unique on this board in that I'm the only member who was both appointed by the governor and then later elected by the public to hold my seat. But how I got here doesn't make me beholden to the governor or the voters. My duties are to the university. And this means raising questions, sometimes very difficult, hard questions, and advocating my views in our board meetings like I am right now. And once the board makes a decision, to then support it. And one last point from Dr. DeRita's article that I want to echo. He went on to explain that Chair Scott brought the revised Code of Ethics to the board to emphasize and gain board endorsement of what she correctly pointed out is a standard of governance recommendation for the expectations of a board once the board has acted on an issue as a collective. And to that, I would also just add our revisions to the Code of Conduct were based on our existing Code of Conduct, and they were meant to give transparency and consistency and predictability to the consequences for not agreeing to follow it. These consequences have no impact on a trustee's ability to fulfill their responsibilities. They have full access to information, full ability to debate their views and to engage completely in all of their required board activities, public meetings like the one we're in, and how we prepare for it. The loss of privileges had to do with things that are truly privileges. Complimentary tickets to sporting and theater events, reimbursement for optional travel. But trustees, all trustees under this revised policy are still fully supported in complete participation in all official board meetings and actions and are in no way suppressed in their ability to speak about their views. You know this because you're hearing it right now in this meeting. And I'll just conclude on this by noting in that article that Chair Scott's leadership here is recognized, and I appreciate her leadership on this issue and how she's conducted herself and led this board on this particular issue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody in this room that if we're going to be compared to the legislature, legislators censor each other all the time. Members are removed from committees. They lose staff when budgets are cut, and they're not able to attend things like conferences on Mackinac Island. We are governing ourselves because that is our job.
Okay. So with that, we will call the vote. So
Could we do a roll call vote on this just because of this and stuff? So I'll
let you go ahead and do that, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Behar-Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Balo.
No.
Trustee Deno.
No.
Trustee Kanaki-Jefferson.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Yes.
Oh, that was on. Okay. Trustee Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Vassar. The vote is 4-3. The motion passes.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to Committee on Student Life, Culture.
I just had to say one more thing as part of my report.
Oh, I'm
Sorry, that's okay, no problem. It's just, the committee also discussed Board of Trustee Policy 103, the conflict of interest policy, and received an update on the internal control review. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Scott. With that, we'll turn to the Committee on Student Life, Culture, and Safety. Trustee Deno.
Thank you. Hopefully something a little less controversial. Student Life, Culture, and Safety Committee met on June 1st, we received a presentation from Mike Yankowski, Chief of Police and Executive Director of Police and Public Safety, during the live streaming portion of the meeting. The presentation provided an overview of campus safety and support efforts, including emergency preparedness, community engagement, student safety resources, and the university's ongoing commitment to fostering a safe environment for students, faculty, staff, and visitors. In addition, the committee met with 4 students in a separate session to hear about their experiences and perspectives as Michigan State students. The discussion provided valuable insight into student life and the opportunities and challenges students encounter both inside and outside the classroom. I don't know, is Chief Yankowski here? I did not see but
I don't believe so. He was here yesterday, but
no, he was here. Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, I just wanted to thank him for you know, being available to this live stream. You know, we have one of the best police chiefs in the country, and to, you know, talk about what he's doing and talk about what our great police department's doing is really really all police departments should be doing. So I wanted to thank him and our entire police department for that. I also, I think I speak for everybody on the board, you know, we really love these discussions with our students. It's really refreshing. I don't know, it's VP Hintz, there he is. I wanted to thank you and your team, and Lizzie and Patty Martinez, I don't think she's here for that. And finally, I just wanted to say that this is the second time we've live streamed our Student Life Culture and Safety Committee. And this is an attempt by, you know, everybody on the board to try to be more transparent and see what we're doing. And that concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Deno. And I'll turn it over to Chair Scott now for the liaison.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We had a wonderful meeting this morning, and I appreciated all of the input that we received from our liaisons. We are going to turn over to them for their reports. And we will first start with COGS and then go to our at-large ASMSU and then RHA. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Chairperson Scott, members of the board, President Kaskowitz, and members of the University community. I'm Priyanka Kothari, and I speak today as President of the Council of Graduate Students. Even during the summer months, COGS remains actively engaged in serving graduate and professional students across Michigan State University. Our staff and student leaders continue to provide resources, maintain communication with students, and plan events that strengthen community and well-being. We're also working closely with campus partner and the graduate school to prepare for fall welcome and ensure that incoming and returning graduate students begin the academic year with opportunities to connect, build relationships, and learn about the resources available to support their success. I'm happy to invite you all to the celebration on Saturday, 29th August from noon to 3 p.m. at Benefactors Plaza, which is the lawn behind the grad school building. Never miss an opportunity to cheer for graduate students. At the same time, we remain concerned about affordability, funding stability, access to resources, and the continuing uncertainty facing us. In particular, we are paying close attention to 2 significant moments at MSU: the transition in university leadership and the financial decisions that will shape the future of this institution. Recently, President Kaskowitz announced his plans to step out of his current role. I want to thank him for the tremendous partnership we've had over the last year, where we worked behind the scenes in significant ways to address graduate students' concerns. He always made time to listen and learn and support us as best as he could. It will not be the same, even as I hope it would be. Thank you. And please note that my next remarks are not about you personally. Leadership transitions create uncertainty. Graduate students want to see continued commitment to transparency, shared governance, affordability, and student success. We are at the board's annual budget meeting right now. The tuition increase that was just approved will have a real impact, as many students struggle with rising costs. In many ways, it feels like we take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. At a special Sunday meeting of the board last month, a proposed compensation package worth $1 million was approved to retain our president. COGS recognizes the value of strong leadership, and we understand the competitive nature of higher education administration. Yet this is not about that. It is difficult to reconcile a substantial executive compensation increase at a time marked by budget constraints for us as an institution. We had a 6% budget cut last year and are going into another 3% budget cut this year. This has had a direct negative impact on all of us. The support available to students has only been reduced. At the same time, our tuition dollars are raised. It is rather disappointing to think about what messages do these decisions send about the university's priorities. When students are being asked to pay more, when departments are preparing for tighter budgets, and when many members of our community are being asked to do more with less, decisions at the top carry significant symbolic and practical weight. This is not okay. Trust in institutional leadership depends not only on outcomes, but also on whether financial decisions reflect the value of fairness, accountability, and shared responsibility. The concern is not simply about one compensation package, but about institutional values. Michigan State's greatest strength is its people, and I urge the board to ensure that future investments reflect a commitment not only to leadership, but also to all students, staff, faculty who make this institution successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, At-Large is next, sorry.
Yeah, JJ's on Zoom.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, JJ, we can. Good morning.
Awesome. Good morning, Chair Scott and board members. My name is JJ DiFio, and I am the incoming at-large student board student board liaison. My report's in the form of an introduction since this is my first meeting, and I apologize for not being there in person. I'm an out-of-state student at home in New Hampshire right now, but I will be back in Michigan very soon, so I'm looking forward to being back. I am an incoming undergraduate senior in the James Madison College of Natural Science, and College of Arts and Letters. I was the student board representative in high school and have volunteered with the National Student Board Member Association, so I'm very excited to start my term here. I am a member of a bunch of organizations and committees on campus, including JMC Senate, where I serve on the executive committee, the ASMSU class councils. I am the MSU Star Wars Club founder and president, in Philosophy Club, and I'm very proudly a member of the national championship winning MSU dodgeball team. I serve on the JMC College Curriculum Committee and the JMC Academic Freedom Committee, and I'm very excited to begin plugging my experiences and my work and advocacy into this role and leading the University Committee on Student Affairs. Some of the things that, among of course many other things, I intend on putting some work into this year is addressing and integrating AI in university education, pushing for creating, enhancing, and promoting third spaces and other social spaces on campus, and especially in academic areas, and better transportation on campus, including safe bicycle infrastructure, improving our on-campus public transportation service, among, of course, many other issues that I'm excited to help address. I want to thank Dr. Hintz and the rest of the administration and staff who selected me to serve in this position, and I look forward to working with those administrators and staff, UCSA, the Board Committee on Student Life, Culture, and Safety, and the entire board overall to make MSU a better place to learn, a better place to teach, and a better place to live.
Thank you, JJ. All right, and now you're up. Thank you, Maddie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Scott. Thank you, Board of Trustees. My name is Maddie Haynes. I'm the incoming ASMSU and Student Body President, and I'm very excited to get started. So far in the short session that we've started, we've had a successful and productive transition into our new Office of the President. We have 2 returning officers and 6 new ones that are very excited to get started. Our hiring process is going very well, and we're on track for a productive fall semester once we get back. Our director team is looking real great so far, and so we're just working on getting the rest of our team together so we can support students in the way that we have been in the past few years. Our summer advocacy is also off to a great start with introductions and planning for school year initiatives going very well. I've personally been meeting with leadership across the campus to begin a year of great collaboration and collaborative initiatives that are bringing the students more together with higher admin, deans, colleges, and anywhere that we could see more collaboration instead of an adversarial relationship. I'm happy to announce our continued role in the Association of Big Ten Students with a member of our team on the executive board and a new position called the Director of Student Safety and Wellbeing. I'm looking forward to this position as MSU's perspective has really shaped the way that the Big Ten is looking at student safety across not just the Big Ten, but the country. But I'm really excited to share what we've learned and what MSU has done in growth with the rest of our Big Ten colleagues. I'm also happy to share that we will be joining the newly formed United Michigan Student Government Coalition. It's a collection of public universities across the state of Michigan. Their student governments are all coming together so we can focus on higher education affordability and in-state retention of educated talent. This is especially important now that we advocate for student affordability, seeing that the increase of tuition, that 4% increase was just passed. Students are taking on that burden of affordability. It's not going other places, it is going straight to students, and this is a thing that we can't keep doing in the long term. If we have better plans, this is what we're trying to look forward to, especially in this coalition. I'm happy to report as well that our tax increase in this past election cycle was passed. We also filled 16 out of our 32 seats on our General Assembly, with summer appointments filling about 6 more. We have fall elections and fall appointments, so I'm looking forward to hopefully filling as much as we can and having a well-functioning legislative body. We have a lot of work ahead of ourselves at ASMSU, and we're really excited that we have a better stability to go forward. And I personally am just excited for what this year is going to bring and to have collaboration to better students' life on campus, because that's what we're really here for. I yield. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Chair Scott, Board of Trustees. My name is Cassidy Doe, and I will be speaking on behalf of RHA. The Residence Halls Association is excited to share our trip to the National Association of College and University Residence Halls, otherwise known as NACUR, from May 21st to the 24th at Texas A&M University. During the conference, our delegation attended various educational sessions that will help us standardize our organization's finance and legislative process for the benefit of on-campus students. The specific details include adding a legislation tracker and a finance manual to ensure consistency and clarity of information. In one of these discussions to increase regional and national recognition, we will be running an ad hoc called the Committee on Bids, Recognition, and Awards, otherwise known as COBRA, where its focus will be applying for various regional bids and MSU campus awards. As for some takeaways, we've received updates to national business, including various policy and language changes that will affect the structure of NACUR. The energy and impact of these conferences ensures that attending delegates are passionate about RHA and are able to make meaningful differences on campus. Additionally, it was announced that our National Communications Coordinator from the previous session was inducted into the NRHH Advancement Society, which is a huge call for celebration given the national recognition to our institution. Moving on to my next point, RHA is collaborating with the College of Nursing, Office for International Students and Scholars, and the Ingham County Health Department to better support international students' physical health through initiatives such as annual immunization events. This is still in development, but something to look forward to come October. Lastly, something that the board and general public should be aware about is the RHA tax renewal for the upcoming academic year. Since it's on the horizon, I can only share that our strategic plan will be focused on increasing transparency, consolidating support from our active communities, and intense coordination. Thank you.
Thank you all so much, and I hope each of you enjoy your summer. I'm a little jealous. Someone's headed off to London. Someone just got back from Hawaii. I'm like really jealous, but I hope all of you enjoy your summer. And thank you so much for what you've done and everything you've contributed on behalf of your constituents this year. All right, and we'll move on to the faculty liaison report.
Thank you, Chair Scott. I want to start by saying from a faculty perspective that the June board meeting is typically one of the best board meetings of the year because our peers are receiving tenure and getting confirmed in their promotions to associate and full professor. These recognitions are at the heart of the academic enterprise of Michigan State, and seeing the names earlier come up on the screen to be put forward for promotion across all disciplines on campus, showcasing their excellence is inspiring and heartwarming. I just love it. Hearing from our research presenters does the same, and I applaud Dr. Trey Rogers and his entire team for the amazing work of our internationally renowned turfgrass program, one of the many programs here on campus that are world leading. This is the joy of working at a research institution, and in my position as Faculty Senate Chair, it's a high honor that I do not take lightly to represent the incredibly talented and diverse faculty that form the backbone of this institution. However, I'm also here to plead for the stability that these faculty need to teach, to research, and to share our discoveries in Michigan and beyond, bringing out amazing insights to the broader public. This is what faculty need: stability, integrity, and an ability to keep our focus on our core missions: teaching, research, and outreach. This is what we need today. This is what we need tomorrow. This is what we need into the future. As we enter yet another period of uncertainty with the presidential office at MSU, the faculty need you all to understand this basic fact. We are dedicated to making this institution brilliant and using our training and skills to ensure its long-term health. What we need is stability at the top to do our jobs. What is the cost of turmoil at this institution? There are obvious and direct costs from constant change that can be quantified. Ironically, perhaps, as a historian, I am not here today to recount these histories. I want to be forward-looking. Most of the cost of instability from the constantly shifting strategic priorities of this institution, thanks to the near constant leadership transitions that we've had over the last 8 years, are hidden. They are well known to those who are bearing the cost, the faculty and the staff, but they are not visible or obvious to the casual observer or even perhaps this board and the general public. There are costs to what has not happened on campus. To illustrate, I will quote a colleague who was selected to serve on a high-level committee evaluating a program. When I asked how they felt about it, they responded, "John, there goes another article I will never write." Every time we start a new slate of strategic initiatives, there is lost productivity from those who are tapped or forced to participate. These colleagues are taking the time they would spend writing the next great book, grafting a new fruit variety, writing a grant proposal, or establishing and nurturing a deep community outreach program and channeling it into the seemingly endless string of untested, bright, shiny new programs and ideas. Am I saying that faculty are intractably set in their ways and only want to selfishly focus on their own research? No, far from it. You saw the passion of Dr. Rogers when people can lean into their research, though. Most of us are quite good at distinguishing between the new initiatives with value and those where the costs are likely to outweigh the benefits. Take One Health, for instance. The faculty surveyed in late 2025 came out strongly in favor of the One Health Research Network. And this spring, colleagues from 18 colleges came together to actualize this. Monday morning's program, introducing 5 potential pathways for research direction to shape interdisciplinary collaboration in the health sphere, should be amazing. I hope some of you will be in the union to hear the collective wisdom of colleagues from the sciences, from medicine, from social sciences, from communications, and the arts and humanities. It is inspiring and potentially transformative work. However, those same faculty that have embraced the research network, also in that same survey which was presented to you, noted that the other aspects of One Health, combining medical colleges with different accreditation boards and taking departments from colleges across campus, were bound to be disruptive, to the point where the value to faculty was unclear at best. Faculty writ large speak with a nuanced but clear voice. The majority of us spend our entire careers here. We care deeply. Listening carefully to the nuance and analysis needs to be a priority for the new president and for this board. So what does the stability that faculty desire look like from the perspective of the board? It involves ensuring that our North Star continues to be our core mission. Why is MSU here as an institution, and why have so many faculty invested their time and talents to make it great? Because we believe in our mission statement, which says we are here to, quote, advance knowledge and transform lives, end quote. This is what guides me every day in my work, and the same is true for the vast majority of my amazing colleagues. Give us the space and the resources to enact that mission. To that end, faculty are also quite clear that the mission can only be advanced when all units on campus are working for and supporting that central mission. The question of intercollegiate athletics has for over 100 years now been controversial on college campuses. The faculty and I support having a robust intercollegiate athletic program on campus. I myself was an NCAA athlete more than a few years ago now. However, athletics also needs to comport with the core mission of the university. How does intercollegiate athletics support that core mission? It is, of course, a front porch for the university and a way for us to garner community support from those who do not engage directly with the academic enterprise, but it can be so much more. The athletic landscape is rapidly changing before our eyes, both financially and otherwise. What would transformational leadership in athletics look like? How might athletics be more than just a nebulous front porch and translate directly into benefits for the student body writ large and for the institution as a whole? Transformational leadership in athletics would envision using some of the newfound financial resources to benefit the general fund, rather than taking loans from the general fund as they are at the moment. Of course, our student athletes deserve to see the financial windfall they are finally seeing for bringing economic value to this institution. But so too do the academic departments on which the good name of MSU was built over the now 171 years of our existence. A Spartan supporter wants to see a winning team, yes, but they also want to see that team attached to a great university. So as we consider the place of a new body like Spartan Ventures, we need to think bigger and in ways that are fundamentally more transformational. It is great to be one step ahead of our colleagues in Ann Arbor, not gonna lie, in creating new sport commercial ventures that take advantage of the new rules and opportunities opening up via transformations in the NCAA system. It would be quite another to dedicate, say, 25% of the revenue created under these new rules to the MSU General Fund, so that every Spartan student and faculty member could clearly see the connection between a successful athletic enterprise and the collective academic enterprise that undergirds the love that so many in this state and across the country feel for Sparty and those who wear the green and white. To conclude, the faculty are tired of leadership transitions. We absolutely need leadership that will rise above petty squabbles and the battles of the past to find a president who wants to let us do our work. MSU is a strong institution despite the constant leadership transitions and board infighting. We are strong because the people who are here continue to do the work despite budget cuts, despite shifting strategic priorities, and despite leadership uncertainty. This transition is an opportunity. We hope and pray that it will be a time to simply refocus on our core mission. If Spartans will, it will be the faculty playing a key role. We will be here through this president and likely, but hopefully not too soon, others after that. The MSU faculty are among the best in the world, and we want to work at an institution that is run in a way commiserate with our talents. An institution that gives us the space and the stability to get back to work. It is summertime. We want to roll up our sleeves and write the next great American novel, to work toward a cure for cancer, to bring the best turf grass to the world stage of the FIFA Men's World Cup, or at least to sit back and watch it in action, not failing, and to understand and break down the social barriers that keep people in our Michigan communities from embracing the best possible solutions to poverty, healthcare, educational issues, and the other great battles of our time. We are here and we aren't going anywhere. Give us a president who is people-focused and who will empower the faculty. Let us do our jobs and change the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you as well and your leadership. And I'll turn it over to Stephen.
Excellent. It is time for trustee comments, and this morning we'll start with Trustee Balo.
I did not expect to have that honor, Dr. Fletcher, to go first, but I seized the day, if you will.
It's the opportunity.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool that I just got to go after Dr. Arnie Lessner, because you're a professional historian. I like to consider myself an amateur historian.
We love them all.
And, context for me is the word of the day. We all, because of human nature, react in our own ways to the passions of the moment and to the things that we're going through at the time, and that's fair. But, when you read a lot of history and biography and you realize that human nature never really changes, like it rhymes. Like I often say, what's the difference between us and the ancient Egyptians? And the answer is we have the internet and they built better pyramids. Otherwise, we're the same people. Throughout the 5,000 or 10,000 years of human existence, there's good, there's bad, there's everything in between. And if we can contextualize the moments that we're in, both taking part in American society today and as our roles as a global citizen, I think it provides comfort. Comfort in knowing that, for instance, MSU is a bedrock that's been around since 1855, and it's a great place, and it has outstanding faculty and staff and students, and it's bigger, much bigger than any board, any individual board member, any president, any senior person on campus. It has a perpetual life that is sustained by the good efforts of the men and women who work there. And on most days, we're pushing that in the right direction. And on the days that we're not, we get up tomorrow and we push it back in the right direction. And I hope that one of the things that I like to remember is that people of good faith, when they're trying to push in the right direction, sometimes have disagreements, and they're trying to figure it out civilly. And I think that that's a good thing for our country, because here's the historical part and my connection to this area. So we're in Berrien County, in southwest Michigan, in the fruit belt, if you will. Long ago, my family, my great-great-grandfather came here from what was then the Kingdom of Prussia. It wasn't even the German Empire yet, but it was about to be one. And they left because they were looking for a better life here in this place, where they could get a piece of land, grow some things, much like people that we met over the last 2 days are growing great things. Our family farm was right off Pipestone Road in 94. It's long since been redeveloped. I think that was around 1872. And before that, I had some distant cousins that came here in a very significant year for all of you, 1855. The same year, a little school called the Agricultural College of the State of Michigan was founded in East Lansing. 1855, a family with some young men, 2 of which went off to fight in the great struggle of the American Civil War, which to me was the concluding chapter of the American Revolution, the battle which tried to prove that all men were indeed created equal. 2 of them fighting around Winchester in 1854, one of them grievously wounded, became a prisoner of war, thankfully made it home. I thank God that my great-great-grandfather took the chance to come here. Yesterday, we had about a 2-hour pause in our activities, if you will. I took the time to find their final resting place, these immigrants, these first-generation Americans that were my forebears. And they happened to be in like one of those old cemeteries that looks like it's the land that time forgot, where the grass is a little too long and the stones are fading, and the sunlight is coming through the trees in a way where you can almost hear the voices whispering to you in the wind. Like, be thankful for what you have. You live in the greatest country on the face of the earth. We came here long ago. You're about to celebrate the 250th anniversary in July, something not enough people are talking about. Appreciate the 5 freedoms you have that come from our First Amendment in 1791, some of which we've talked about. Pay it forward. Be a good citizen, help your neighbor. Never take anything for granted. Take risks like we did. Don't be afraid. Be a reflective person. And always try to do the right thing, and don't be afraid of the struggle, whether you're in the cities, in the townships, in the school boards, in your neighborhoods, or yes, running a university board. Try to do what you think is right, as God gives you the light to see what is right. I would encourage all of you to have that context for your own families and your own American stories as we approach our birthday this summer, to stand in moments of quiet solitude and think about the small part on the timeline that we all occupy and realize that it's passing. And soon, instead of standing and pondering in an old cemetery, those of us will be in our final rest, and someone might be standing there wondering who we were and what we did during our time on this earth. Thanks for listening, and have a great Green Day. And it's good to be here, and it's a humble honor to serve this great school. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Balo. Trustee Behal-Cook.
Thank you. I just wanted to start with, and I've already told him this, but to Dr. Trey Rogers, I am a fangirl big time. So thank you so much for everything you're doing to put Michigan State on the national stage and carrying that through to great benefit for the world beyond. I want to talk a little bit about some of the cool things I got to do as a trustee since the last time I sat down at a board meeting. I had the great pleasure of visiting our child development lab. We have one in East Lansing that my children went to when they were toddlers, even before they were toddlers. And this lab uses the MSU children's curriculum, which is play-based learning, and developed here at MSU over a number of years by teachers and faculty within the Department of Human Development and Family Studies. The program has achieved national recognition, and I will say, as a parent, my son's 26, and I think we were there 23 years ago. It not only teaches the children, but it also teaches the parents about how to be better parents, about nutrition, about language, about all of those things. So our lab underscores our mission as a land-grant university in taking an active role in community outreach. So I just wanted to highlight everything that they do and the way that they help our community. I also want to, President Guskowitz said something in his opening remarks, but I too want to take time to recognize and congratulate over 10,000 plus students who graduated last month and are now considered alumni. Living in East Lansing always allows me to attend many events on campus, and this year I attended 15 graduation ceremonies. And I don't do it to boast about myself. I just want to talk about this important milestone for our newest Spartan alumni who are now entering the workforce prepared to strengthen their communities through collective problem solving and meaningful discourse and committed to the public good. And I'm going to get emotional because I always see those first generation stoles. I'm so proud of those graduates. So thank you, everybody, who helped get them there. Different note, I also got to attend the centennial event for the MSU Union as we unveiled that historical marker. And throughout its history, the Union has been a constant home for students and student organizations, accommodating everything from dances and meetings to organizing and protests. And I did not know the link between Michigan veterans and the Union and how that building was really fundraised to help memorialize sons who were lost in World War II. So that was also very moving. As we look towards the next 100 years, it's my hope this building will continue to be a place of community gathering and connection for our entire Spartan community. We also, the Com Arts recognized 5 alumni in their alumni awards, and I got to attend that ceremony as well. The alumni board is the one who recognizes these, the Com Arts Psi Alumni Board recognizes these outstanding alumni. There's a nice ceremony that's held in the communications building. This year, our alumni awards were given to Martin Brodsky, class of 1992 and 95, David Calkins, class of 2001, Susie Elkins, who is actually a personal friend of mine, who used to run WKAR and now she's in DC, class of 1995, Suzette Hackney, class of 2001, and Ann Thomas, class of 1982. I'd also like to congratulate Mario McLean on receiving this year's Rising Star Award. McLean graduated in 2015, and even though they're not in the room, I think that these distinguished alumni deserve a round of applause. And finally, I attended 2 events on campus. One was the Apple Academy, and while I really appreciate the invitation to attend that, what it taught me is I know nothing about the Apple Academy, nor manufacturing, nor how all of these new systems can help improve Michigan's economy and make economic development here grow even more. But I enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed this year's AI Summit within the university. So I went last year, invited to go, and I was very curious, how does Michigan State take something that doesn't exist and incorporate it in not only the curriculum, but also in the way we administrate ourselves, the way we make workflows grow better and stronger, and how do we teach our students to use AI as a tool, right? And there was a lot of, I think, trepidation and questions about that a year ago. And I was so impressed by how thoughtful members of the faculty have been in terms of how can we incorporate this tool into our curriculum, acknowledging that it is just a tool and not a replacement for our students or critical thinking or other important things that we're teaching at our university. So I just wanted to recognize and really congratulate the faculty for moving so quickly on this. It was just phenomenal. And then before I sign off, I want to thank the Board of Trustees office and extension staff for the time, effort, and creativity that they put into the last 2 days. It was exhausting. We saw a lot, but it was also so incredibly cool to see the way MSU Extension doesn't just benefit the community, but becomes incorporated into the community, and the working partnership between many folks who are actually growing our food and the resources that MSU helps them with on a, sounds like, definitely annual, I would guess, and sometimes weekly basis. So I really appreciate that. And then I did want to just ask Trustee Mike, as you voted no on the 2027 operating budget, I would hope that as a Republican on the board, you would be able to use your relationship with a Republican-controlled House to convince Speaker Hall to fund our university appropriately and not implement the 62% cut he has proposed for us at the state budget. If the Michigan legislature would keep up with its peers in other states, perhaps this board would not need to raise tuition rates in future years. It would be great if you could specifically share with Speaker Hall what we heard from our students today so that he can understand the consequences of continual cuts to MSU in our budget and for the state. And finally, I just wanted to say the engagement that I've seen not only in the Spartan community, but also in the way President Guskowitz has engaged our donors, our alumni across Michigan and across the nation. I appreciate the relationships that you have developed on and off campus. Your leadership, compassion, energy, and enthusiasm at MSU is sincerely appreciated.
Thank you, Trustee Behal-Cook. Trustee Vasa.
Hey, just one point of order. Since I was addressed, can I?
No, this is a comment section, so let's proceed.
But at the end, like, I just want, you can't, address.
I think that was maybe a rhetorical question you can address.
Was that rhetorical, Trustee?
No, that's a real question.
So let's.
No, I just it's very important, like, because that's a kind of a unique thing, and it's not a bad thing. I have a suggestion.
Let us just go to Trustee Vassett's comments and move on from there, please.
But is that appropriate?
I think it was a question that can be raised from there. It's appropriate in this section of the meeting. So let's go to.
If anyone would like to talk after the meeting, we can address that. It's a very good point, and we have an answer for that.
Thank you. Trustee Vasa.
That's okay.
So I just want to thank so many folks. Megan Winans is the person who helps prepare our comments. I've never even met this woman, and she's right there in the back. Wait, Megan. Megan, it's good to see you and to meet you. Kind of, we'll meet after this. I just need to shake your hand because, sometimes you get comments that are completely like, I would never say this, but I don't even know you, and you've captured exactly what I would want to say. So I just appreciate you and your support. I don't know if you make everyone else's, but you do mine with expertise that is commendable. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the tech team. You all, if I'm in another country or down the street, I have an issue, you all are right there to help me, and I appreciate you. I know that I'm a heavy lift sometimes, so thank you so much for being strong. And for all of this, and for telling me when I came in that this was a hot mic. That's important to know, so I appreciate the heads up when I came in. You just take care of everything. And Stefan and your team, Heather is, I never see Heather, but she's always with me. Always with me. Heather is always with me. So I want to say thank you to you and to Heather, but mostly to Jackie, who I affectionately call Lashes. If you've ever seen her eyelashes, they're stellar. And she doesn't even she gave me no recommendations, right, in terms of where to get the serum or the actual mascara. which is selfish, but still, I appreciate you and all that you do. You and Heather, again, are consistently a resource and a help and actually a safe landing. So I just appreciate you. Thank you for all your hard work. And the folks who keep us all safe, thank you for that too. You come in and they're courteous while they look through your things, and then they open the door for you as you come in. They're just gentlemen and professionals through and through. So I'm grateful for the support. I want to say Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month. We honor the rich diversity of our LGBTQIA family and friends. This community has unique perspectives and contributions they bring. And I'm looking ahead to a week, this next week, filled with all kinds of activities in Detroit. It's going to be a blast. And I also want to recognize Juneteenth, which is also going to be a week of activity and fun, particularly in Detroit. You might want to come on down. But it provides us an opportunity to honor the legacy and enduring impact of Black folks, our culture, our resilience, our contributions that continue to shape our history and our future can not be denied. And I want to just say, most of my heroes are not here, and most of them are people of color. When I say not here, they passed on. You talked a lot about arrest. I will talk about rest later, but not that internal rest, but they've gone to their eternal rest, right? And one of my heroes is Muhammad Ali. I don't know if you know that he lived 30 years in this county, in Berrien Springs. He made Michigan his home. And he is still the GOAT. I still read about his life and study his courage and his resolve to do what he thought was the best thing. He had values and principles, and even when it got tough and it got hard for him, he remained true to them. And I just appreciate that. And I love his example. And I love Berrien Springs. I grew up in this side of the state, along with another Spartan who grew up a couple miles from here that I actually like a lot. And he grew up in Niles. I don't know if you saw those signs as you were coming from East Lansing, but Lucius is from Niles. And I think a lot of good people come from Southwest Michigan. Speaking of the GOAT, I think, John, this faculty senate has actually been one of the most thoughtful and intentional representations of the faculty that I've experienced. I'm grateful for your leadership. Your remarks were spot on. I appreciate that there's not the divisiveness that has come sometimes. And I'm faculty, so I understand we war against everybody, including ourselves, right? But you have come with a unifying message and a forward-looking message, and I appreciate the charge. And yes, transient leadership has shifting priorities that then give you a moving target sometimes. And so that you have decided that you are going to stay resolute to the mission of Michigan State University and continue to pursue the North Star of our core land grant mission values is commendable. Just keep going and give us a little bit of grace, please, as we try to make sure that you have the stability that you actually do need to get someone like Rogers who can enthrall me with grass. Like, I was completely enthralled. And I'm allergic to grass, but now I wanted to lie in it. It looks so beautiful. Even the grass that he said wasn't so awesome, the Coca-Cola, is that Coca-Cola? The one grass, it looked beautiful to me, but I also will have an EpiPen situation. But this time that you're talking about in terms of the summer, please take time to rest. Write the novel, create more solutions for our world's problems, and also rest. College of Education. Starting this fall, MSU's College of Education is launching a first-of-its-kind online master's program in educational statistics and AI to prepare educators and administrators to use these tools ethically and responsibly. This new degree positions MSU at the forefront of AI in education, giving working professionals the advanced data tools they need to transform classrooms and policy settings. Now, we've had so many conversations about AI and its usage at the faculty level and at the K-12 level. And we just like banned, you can ban cell phones in the classroom. What I appreciate about MSU's College of Education under the leadership of Dean Joando Jackson is that he's always thinking of solutions that would not necessarily prohibit folks from using what we use every day, but incorporate them into the classroom, to have culturally responsive learning, to have teaching that engages learners in the ways that they come into the classroom, right? They come with cell phones, so figure it out. They already are using AI. Figure it out. How do you use what is already there to teach our students? By blending our world-class quantitative methods faculty with practical AI applications, this innovative program ensures our graduates are leading the deployment of data-driven decision-making in schools. I also want to commend Trustee Deno on his work with the student life and safety. Is that right?
Life, culture, and safety.
You changed it. Say it again.
Student life, culture, and safety.
Culture and safety. I think your push for transparency, the live streaming of that, you've asked for that for about 2 years and you made it happen. And I just appreciate your tenacity and your persistence and your perseverance in making that happen. Transparency is a core value of mine, and I know it's yours, and I just commend you on a great meeting, 2 great meetings that were live streamed. Maddie and Priyanka, your affordability comments. As a student who was first generation, who had many challenges that I don't talk about necessarily because it's not everybody's business, but I made it through, right, with Pell Grants, and I made it through with the support of folks who cared about those who didn't have all the means to go to college. This affordability issue is a problem, and I do agree that we need to call on the legislature to give more to education. I think that we can tell the preparation of students who go to, who attend well-funded schools in K-12. We could tell when they get to the university how better prepared they are. Once they get here, if they make it from a marginalized background, if they make it and they're the first to come in their whole family, what supports are we able to give them at the university, but then also what supports has the state devoted to, as President Gutzkowitz always says, the state's university. Right? Please keep bringing this up because it's an issue that's near and dear to my heart. But for the support of federal grants and for loans, which we have also learned, the Parent Plus loan, you're gonna have a 650 FICO score to get. It's crazy, right? These are prohibitive, and we want an educated populace. And so keep pushing this conversation about affordability. And Rebecca DeVoot, where is she? Good job this Thursday explaining what your strategy is to press the state to give us what we need, not what we deserve. Just give us the bare basics of what we need to make sure that every student who is admitted into Michigan State University can finish, and cannot necessarily finish with a burden of debt for them and their families. Finally, culinary. I want to congratulate our culinary services team for earning a National Gold Award for the National Association of College and University Food Services for our Bridges Employee Development Program. The Bridges program offers English tutoring services to team members and aims to create an inclusive environment, develop professionalism, and foster a strong community between students and staff. Our team was also recognized with the Bronze Award in the Residential Special Event of the Year category for the exceptional Dickens dinner hosted at the State Room. These accolades highlight how hard our culinary services teams work every day to support the entire campus community, keeping our students and staff fed, fueled, and cared for. These award winners will be officially celebrated this summer at the National Conference in New Orleans, showcasing MSU's dedication to service and excellence on a national stage. I do want to say, like, every year I feel like has been challenging in different ways for the last maybe 4 years. And every year I tell you that you should rest. Again, not the eternal rest that we were talking about earlier, you know, stay alive, but as you're staying alive, think about living, right? Think about water, hydrate yourself, take naps, look at the wall for a while, doodle, as Trustee Bayard Cook does in every single meeting. Just draw, just tap into your creativity, and I don't know, I don't think I would use that term, Netflix and chill. So there's a, what is it called when you veg out and watch? Nobody knows?
Bedrock?
Bedrock? I have no idea. Watch Netflix. Binge watching, not Netflixing and chilling. Binge watch something that is, you know, nonsensical. Play outside in the grass, that, you know, the blue grass or the kukui, Coca-Cola, whichever one. Go outside, touch nature, like, relax. There's so many problems in the world, and there's so many problems that we all face individually, but there's so much joy that you can find in every moment. And I really press you this summer to unplug, unwind, stop, breathe, drink your water, and mind your business. Go green.
Thank you. Trustee Pierce.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. So I just want to mention that I'm the chair of the Detroit Economic Club, and last month we were so fortunate to have President Guskowitz and our athletic director, Jay Batt, and the chat was titled Michigan State and Spartan Athletics Leading Through Innovation. John, you mentioned Spartan Ventures, and it really, that one initiative, strategic initiative, puts MSU above all of our competitors in this country. So much is going on with NIL and the portal. Don't get Tom Izzo started talking about that. But this venture, long term, is going to benefit not just athletics, but our entire university. I did sign the NDA. I did go with Chair Scott and spent an entire day going through every single document. You know, I'm a 45-year banker, and I understand now why we were asked to sign an NDA to look at the documents. And that's because if they were released or leaked, we would not have a competitive advantage against every other university in this country. Period, end of story. Trust me, the advantages to us as a university, not just athletics, are enormous over time. And I want you to know, as a trustee, I am doing my fiduciary role by going and looking at every document. And so I am a financial expert. I will tell you, as I sit here, that we are so fortunate to have that innovative Spartan Ventures and Spartan Media Ventures, to have it in our house. So I'm really excited about it, and you talked a bit about it at the Detroit Athletic Club with Jay Batt, but you couldn't give the details because it would definitely release stuff that we don't want out there. So thank you for that. It was just a great meeting. I also want to clear up just one thing that really, Priyanka, thank you for bringing up the Sunday night increase of President Guskowitz's base salary, which didn't work, by the way. But I said that night, for those of you that didn't listen, I said that night that I was going to try with the other trustees to raise that money so it didn't come out of the Michigan State University coffers. Obviously, I didn't need to do that. However, I will tell you the next day, Monday, I got 6 calls from alumni that said we've got it covered. So it would not have touched Michigan State University coffers. I want to be very clear on that. I just couldn't promise it Sunday night because I hadn't approached anybody. And I didn't approach anybody on Monday. They reached out to me. The other thing I will tell you, going back to athletics for a minute, and Lisa Frace, correct me if I'm wrong, but the athletics deficit does not come out of our general fund. Let me say that again. The athletics deficit does not come out of the Michigan State University general fund where your tuition goes. So again, let's be factual when we're making comments. And the last thing I'll say is, if you haven't seen, I had nothing to do with it, I wish I had, but if you haven't seen the recap, the summary video of the I Heart Kevin G, it's available. Get online and watch it, because it's everything that I would want to say to you. Thank you.
Trustee Dano.
Thank you. I just want to once again thank all of our first responders, especially those in law enforcement, for all you do for our communities. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Kanaki Jefferson.
Thank you. So my comments, I want to use my time today, and these comments are my own. They haven't been prepared by anyone else. I want to use my time today to reflect on the incredible accomplishments over the past academic year under the leadership of President Guskowitz and his team and his wife, Amy. I've been thinking a lot about this, especially since May and participating in graduation. So I guess first let me begin by congratulating all of our recent graduates. Your success is our success, and I wish you the very best. And I've continued to reflect on our president's accomplishments during our time here in West Michigan. I did have to dash back to East Lansing yesterday to celebrate my daughter's end of the year tennis season at East Lansing High School, which is why I'm not with you all today. But I do want to thank everyone who organized our retreat. I was especially moved by hearing about accomplishments of 4 of our students who are Williams Scholars. One of the many incredible legacies spearheaded by President Guskowitz. They shared incredible research they've been doing during their first year as undergraduates at Michigan State. And when I was on the law faculty at Michigan State from 2006 to 2016, I taught first year undergraduates in a similar research program through the Honors College. But it is President Guskowitz who has elevated that experience for our Williams Scholars, and this is one of many examples where under his leadership, the great things happening at Michigan State University have been expanded and amplified. His leadership is special. His leadership is one of a kind. It is uniquely Spartan, and I'll say more about that in a moment. But first, I do want to say just a few more things about our recent action as a board. Because there have been rumors and misinformation in the news. And I already spoke about the first thing I wanted to clear up. And again, if you have not read the article by Dr. Victor Dorita in the Lansing State Journal, you really should do so. Again, he is spot on in his article. The duty of loyalty is governance 101 for university board members. And I already spoke to the timing of our meeting. And I want to just also be very clear about the vote to increase the president's compensation, because I absolutely understand the concerns from students and faculty about how we use funds at this institution. And so again, let me be clear. President Guskowitz never asked for any additional money from us. The board, over the years during his time with us, we have discussed and recognized that his salary is not at the top of our peer institutions. It was our decision as a board, not his, to extend to the $2 million. And that was based upon really meeting the market and looking at the most recent contract negotiated by another Big Ten university in our state with their president. And we understood that thanks to the leadership of Trustee Pierce in her capacity as Chair of Budget and Finance, that there would have been, as she has acknowledged, the opportunity for external donor-based resources to cover the increase, an increase that would not touch the general fund or tuition dollars. And so in supporting that effort, I believed that it was indeed our fiduciary duty to meet the market, particularly as we would be able to do so without impacting the general fund or student tuition, and because of the extraordinary accomplishments of President Guskiewicz. And so let me just conclude by highlighting some of those accomplishments over the past year. President Guskiewicz has visioned and led a bold plan to create a single medical school here, Michigan State University Medicine, with 2 accredited physician training programs, one offering the DO degree and the other offering the MD degree. President Guskiewicz has visioned and led a bold plan for athletics with Athletic Director Jay Batt and AD Batt's team. Spartan Ventures will serve as a nonprofit MSU affiliated corporation to focus on revenue generation and the business of managing athletics in this rapidly changing sports college environment. President Guskiewicz has visioned and led a historic record-breaking capital campaign together with Vice President Kim Tobin and her team, not just for athletics, but importantly for academics, to support our faculty and students. That campaign has raised nearly $2 billion, with approximately 70% of that going to academics. Think about that. Approximately 70% of that's going to academics, devoted to supporting our faculty and our students. That's, my understanding is close to $1.3 billion committed, again, to academics under his leadership. There are so many more accomplishments I could recount, but the last one I want to highlight is one that I have asked for since 2020. It took the extraordinary leadership of President Guskiewicz to finally make this happen. In the December 18th, 2020 board meeting, in my trustee comments, much like I am delivering now, at that time I called for an independent review of the university's handling of relationship violence and sexual misconduct. For more on that history, please look back to the December 18th, 2020 board meeting minutes and my lengthy, detailed comments. What is important for you to know now is that President Guskiewicz is the first leader of this institution to make that independent review happen. He recently launched with his team what is known as the Institutional Assessment and Responsive Action. It's a comprehensive evaluation of Michigan State University's culture, structure, and policies. The process is designed to achieve historical accountability, to assess existing efforts, and to identify both areas of progress and those requiring continued improvement. The assessment is going to be led by MSU's Collaborative Advisory Board that was put together and envisioned by President Guskiewicz along with his team. This is a group of subject matter experts on relationship violence and sexual misconduct, and the board is going to work with survivors and stakeholders across the university and an external independent firm to carry out that independent assessment that we have long needed. And I wish that it had happened when I first asked for it in 2020, but I am grateful for President Guskiewicz's leadership in making it a reality. And so I want to thank you, President Guskiewicz, for your leadership, not just on the institutional assessment, but in all the ways I've mentioned and all of your many other successful initiatives. Your leadership is uniquely Michigan State. It is uniquely Spartan. It is special, and I am very grateful for the ways that you continually advance Michigan State University to greater heights.
Thank you very much. Chair Scott.
Thank you. I want to begin by addressing the board's commitment to stability at Michigan State University. The board is focused on a very smooth transition and maintaining the momentum of this university. Everything that we've achieved over the 2 years, we've recognized, and we want to keep those things going. We remain strong. We are a vibrant institution with extraordinary students, faculty, staff, alumni, supporters. We recognize that as an institution, we are moving forward. Early last week, the board sent a message to MSU That included a commitment to keeping you all informed of the process for selecting the university's next leader. The current landscape for higher education leadership is changing, and we all know that. I mean, it is, if we think about what's happening in our state as well as in the country, it is very different than what it was when I first joined this board. Higher education has been the focus of significant policy changes and scrutiny in recent years, and those shifts have impacted the field of the willing, experienced, and qualified candidates. Additionally, multiple Big Ten universities are currently in the process of searching for a president. Those include the University of Michigan, Purdue, and Wisconsin. And many more universities are also in the market for new leadership. The board is working closely with the firm to provide guidance and advice on how to navigate these current circumstances and to determine the next steps in selecting either an interim or a permanent president. While a final determination has not yet been made, the board is reaching out to those within the MSU community to seek their feedback and input regarding the transition process and the qualities that they would like to see reflected in MSU's next leader. We are making good progress and are united in our desire to find the right fit for MSU now and into the future. We will be deliberate in that process. We know that President Guskiewicz will always be a Spartan in his heart, in our hearts, and we will appreciate his continued partnership as we navigate the upcoming transition. We are confident in the strength of our academic and executive leadership, many of whom are here today, the very capable team that he has behind him, their dedication, the dedication of our faculty and our staff, the talent of our students, and the passion of Spartans around the world. There is no doubt that Michigan State University thrives and will endure this transition. We are resilient. We have endured a lot throughout our very long history, and we have come out better and stronger. I want to thank the MSU community for their active interest in the process for our search and the selection of our next leader. The board will continue to provide updates as they become available, and we look forward to announcing details of this transition plan in the coming future. I also want to next, Trustee Vassar already gave a shout out and wished everyone a happy Pride Month, so I'd like to do that as well. And I would encourage you all to look at resources that we have across the campus, which includes the Gender and Sexuality Campus Center. There are lots of programming that are happening, and so if you want to engage in that, we tell you to take a look there and support where you see that you can. We'd also like to recognize June 15th, and Juneteenth, which is on June 19th. And unfortunately, I won't be able to make the, I would call it a celebration, an enlightenment, the programming that we will have on campus, but they do it every year. And I don't know how many of you have taken the time out of your days to actually come and to hear from the great speakers that they bring in. It's a very wonderful cultural celebration. I would encourage you, if you are around on campus and you have not engaged in Juneteenth on our campus, you are missing out. Jabbar Bennett does a wonderful job with his team in making sure that we have a very educational program that's around it. And I would ask that if you have any desires, I know that they are looking for donations, I've heard that. If you wish to give or you have a talent that you feel that you would like to show off during it, please reach out to them. This event, you can register for it on the Juneteenth webpage, which I believe is live now. And I hope to see you all in some of the pictures that we'll get from that event. And I so wish I could make it this year. I hate that I can't, but I know it's gonna be great. I also wanted to acknowledge that I had the honor of attending the opening of the newly renovated MSU Plant Science Research Greenhouse Complex. We also got an opportunity to taste some newer flavors from the dairy store while we were there. But during this tour of this $35 million upgrade, which is a game changer, it really gave us an idea of the state-of-the-art facilities that our research scientists have now at MSU. They have environmental controls now, LED lighting to conduct precise and year-round research.
And I want to extend a very heartfelt thank you to the partners from the Michigan legislature. Some were there, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and Michigan's agricultural community for the bipartisan $53 million allocation that helped to make that project a success. More than 400 of our faculty and students will use this space to tackle massive global challenges like improving crop yields and securing our food supply. This complex is a huge step forward for Michigan's agricultural industry, and it's a great example of what happens when collaboration meets Spartan innovation. I was thinking ahead because I wanted to crack a joke and I should have just finished reading before my mind started going ahead. I also wanted to say that it's also a great representation of what happens when you take two trustees on their very first tour of the greenhouses on a very cold, wet, rainy day, which turned out, according to George Smith, that was planned. And that was Trustee Kelly Tebay and I. It was our first tour, and Dean Hendrick at the time said, hey, I want you guys to come. I want you to come. Why don't you come this week? I think it's going to be really good, for you to come and see. I'm going to have some scientists and researchers there, and we can take you around and you can see the conditions. He had looked at the forecast, and what I was told is he knew it was going to be raining and wet on that day, but they wanted us to see the puddles that they had to walk through. They wanted us to see the leaking ceilings and to see the condensation in the greenhouses. And so it was very, very strategic what he did. And I recall Kelly Tebay and I, when we went back to our first board meeting after that during a work session, just saying, we got to do something about these greenhouses, like it's horrible. And it wasn't the first time they had those discussions, but it was really nice to have that perspective of this was something we kind of fought for as trustees. Diane Byron before us had really worked towards that, as well as other trustees. And to be able to still be sitting on the board when it finally was done was really an honor. I wish that Kelly could have been there. I felt all warm and fuzzy inside that we had something to do with that, and it is a much needed improvement from what we saw. So congratulations for that. I also wanted to talk about the MA3 grant. I'm incredibly proud to share that Michigan State University has been awarded $250,000 in a national grant through the inaugural Modernizing Academic Appointment and Advancement of the MA3 Challenge. This national funding will allow us to reimagine how we recognize and reward our faculty, making our promotion and tenure systems much more transparent, consistent, and also collaborative. The initiative directly supports our land grant mission by ensuring that innovation, entrepreneurship, and vital community engagement work are fully valued during career advancement. As the only Big Ten university to receive this grant, MSU is leading the way in recognizing the full scope of what our brilliant faculty and academic staff contribute every day. Congratulations to Provost McIntyre, as well as the teams from Faculty and Academic Affairs, University Outreach and Engagement, and the Office of Research and Innovation for their outstanding leadership and collaboration in making this project a reality. And this isn't finally, because I got other comments I'm going to make. I want to extend a huge congratulations to Nathanda Madubi, a remarkable MBA student in our Eli Broad College of Business, who was recently named at Big Bets Fellow by Rockefeller Foundation. That's a big deal. Out of a highly competitive global pool of more than 2,000 applicants, Nathanda was selected as one of only 10 leaders for the program's inaugural African cohort. This 5-month fellowship is an incredible honor, bringing together emerging global change makers to focus on driving systemic change, expanding economic opportunities, and strengthening communities. Nathanda's career has focused heavily on digital transformation and youth empowerment, and this fellowship will provide her with stipends, resources, and mentorship to scale her work. It is incredibly rewarding to see our students recognized on this very large global scale, and Nathanda's achievement highlights how Michigan State University gives our students the space and support to dream big. So congratulations to her as well. I also wanted to give a shout out to Jim Hintz. I gave a long shout out to him the other day, so I won't make it as long and embarrassing for him. But I had the opportunity to attend the student parent graduation celebration that was held at Wharton. I think it was back in May or April, I can't remember. But anyway, it was the first time that I had the opportunity and was ever invited to this. And for many of you that may not know, I was one of those student parents, got pregnant at age 20, and had a child that I found out I was pregnant with at Olin Health Center, which still gives me PTSD, Olin Health Center to this day. And I've talked a lot about my story. I'm not gonna bore you all with it, but I just recognized, given what I went through as a student at that time, that I wouldn't have made it had it not been for the village of MSU, and that includes professors, it includes, you know, your friends, your roommates, my sorority sisters, my work study boss, right? And so now we have this wonderful center for student parents, and now we celebrate them and we bring in their families, the entire families in, and give them opportunities to speak about their experiences and to provide them with the supports, which is something that is so important for this non-traditional student population. And so I wanted to just thank Jim Hintz and his staff for the incredible work that they are doing to provide supports to those students. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak and tell my story. Hopefully it was inspiring to some. I know they inspired me being there. So just wanted to let you know I was very grateful for that opportunity. And while it sounds like Trustee Bahar Cook has the record for the most commencements, I attended a measly 8 in 1 year, right? I attended a measly 8. I had an opportunity to be at quite a few of them with Trustee Bahar Cook, and there were other trustees that attended some as well. It is always really exciting to see not just the students, but also the proud families that are there. And I would agree with the comments of my colleague. Seeing those stoles for the first generation students was really enlightening. I mean, I saw so many, and it seems like each year we're seeing more and more, which is something that we'll never get enough of. And so I am really happy that I had an opportunity to participate in that. And I see Kevin's like, shut up, will ya?
I would never say that.
Okay, Dennis was thinking it. All right. And he might say it, right? So I just want to talk a couple more comments. So I had an opportunity to go on an asparagus farm tour. Recently went to Todd Greiner Farms, which is in Hart, Michigan. And it is a great example of an outstanding excellence and innovation that is happening across our state. He is an MSU alum, and what Todd and his wife Sarah Greiner had built since 1994, expanding from 120 acres to a massive multi-generational operation, which showcases the true strength and resilience of Michigan's farming family legacy. Farms like Todd and Sarah's reinforce our state's agricultural economy by producing and shipping top-tier fruits, vegetables, and evergreens across the country. I actually got to watch their processing because they do the packaging there. And if you buy asparagus from Costco or Sam's, you're eating their asparagus. If you're eating asparagus that has anything related to Todd Greiner Farms, they also package from other asparagus farms throughout Michigan. So I'm just so proud because it's right here in we're in Southwest Michigan, but on the west side of the state. And I just really appreciated the time that they spent with me. And so I want to thank Todd and Sarah and their entire team for hosting such an insightful tour and for the outstanding leadership and collaboration in keeping Michigan's agriculture leading the way on a national stage. I recently had the distinct honor as well of introducing MSU's panel, Workforce of Tomorrow, Aligning Education, Industry, Regions, and Policy, during this year's Detroit Regional Chambers Mackinac Policy Conference. And I want to extend a very sincere thank you to our phenomenal lineup of panelists who all lent their time and expertise to this critical conversation. We had Ronia Cruz from the Optech and Digital Lakes, Bob Riney from Henry Ford Health, Ridgeway White from the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation, and our very own provost, Laura Lee McIntyre, who did a phenomenal job. This panel proved that MSU is leading the way in shaping Michigan's economic future and workforce by bringing together top leaders and experts from industries like healthcare, technology, and philanthropy to build new careers and pathways for our students. I also want to give a special, well-deserved recognition to Provost McIntyre for her incredible presence and leadership as a standout on that stage, and reminding everyone of the importance of those partnerships to prepare our students for the jobs of tomorrow. Thank you. She was all over the place, championed MSU's mission and success stories across the island, participating in multiple panels and media interviews, and we just appreciate everything you did. She did a phenomenal job highlighting MSU's real-world impact, and I want to thank her for her hard work, dedication, and for being such a tireless, passionate champion for Michigan State. Okay, I'm almost to the end here. I want to go back now to why we're here. I want to thank everyone who, just stand up if you had a part in the retreat this weekend, any part, because I don't want to miss any names, but I want to give recognition to everyone that had a part, Stefan included, in this wonderful weekend retreat. Thank you all so very much. I mean, we had a tornado warning last night, torrential rains, but this has been a phenomenal 3 days. We've had an opportunity to really learn about the ag bio industry, right? Everything that we learned this weekend was not just based on speakers, but actually tours and being able to go to facilities and actually seeing with our own eyes some of the work that they're doing. And so I just wanted to quickly give a couple shout outs here to Schilling Farm. We got to meet with Ben and Bay, wonderful couple who I believe said that they were a 6th generation family farm right here in this area. They gave us an opportunity to hear about their stories, hardships, and all of the great things that they've been able to accomplish, as well as to get a little bit of a view of what they're doing in their facility. It was very enlightening to me to hear their story, and I appreciated the time and their generosity with giving us that opportunity yesterday morning. And then from there, we went to Lehman's Brewery and Farmhouse and met with Steve Lehman, and I don't know if he's here today. He was with us again yesterday in the evening, but we had an opportunity to eat some homemade pizza, food, and also to hear from him the great things that he's doing, which also includes making wine. And we had an opportunity to go in his little shop and buy some homemade jams and have wine, and also to hear from him what that legacy is all about with what he's doing with his regenerative farming, as well as to talk with other people from MSU Extension that sat with us for lunch yesterday. And I greatly appreciated their input on what MSU could do a little bit better. Rebecca was asking some of those hard questions, like what do you need more from us? And we'll take that information back as a board to talk about how we can better support as a university. But it was really great to hear from them, and then also Flam Pickle and Packing with Dorothy, I think it's pronounced Munau, who is, I mean, she's a storyteller. That woman had us all at hello, right? And just hearing the incredible story of how she got to where she is, being the CEO now of that facility, having an opportunity to watch the processing of pickles, how they make relishes, and then to see all of the various products that their relishes go into, and to have a tasting of some of those products, which was really incredible yesterday. So I wanted to thank her as well. Maybe she's watching. But none of them had to do what they did. None of them had to bring us in, as well as the incredible people we met even last night. The MSU Extension took us on a tour. We were able to also hear from a researcher that is here in this area doing some really great soil research. And it really is enlightening for us as trustees, because when we are in Lansing, we know about Extension, we brag about the fact that we're in 83 counties, but we need to really hear those stories of how Extension touches the heart of our ag industry. And there was not a farmer or a person in ag that we didn't talk to that said in some way MSU works with them and helps them to do the work that they're doing, including to find out and research the diseases that they have to deal with their crops, etc. And so I am just proud to be a Spartan, but so extremely proud of the great work that I think sometimes is not
recognized on a large scale of what MSU Extension is doing across our state. And so I want to just give a heartfelt thank you and let you know how grateful we are to all of the work that you're doing. The representation that you have of MSU across the state really makes me very proud. And then lastly, I know you guys are ready for me to end here. I want to give a shout out, she's not on, but I wanted to give a shout out to Trustee Kelly Tebay on her recent success as an endorsed candidate for the State Democratic Convention. And I look forward to working with her in the upcoming campaign trail. She's not here today. We missed her this weekend, but hopefully all is well. And with that, that concludes my statements. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair Scott. That'll move us on to the public participation on items not germane to the agenda portion of the meeting. Again, each individual who's signed up to speak will have 3 minutes to address the board when your time is concluded. Given the number of speakers today, we ask that you do not exceed your allotted time. Note that, again, persons scheduled to speak may not cede all or part of their time to other individuals or read statements on behalf of others. We will now hear from Valerie Von Frank, I think who's on Zoom with us, followed by Randy Megan. Valerie, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, Valerie, please reset the clock. Hold on. Okay, Valerie, please commence your remarks.
It's really hard to speak today, honestly. I'm reminded of the faculty member who was in a board meeting a few meetings ago who said and remarked that there was such a great disconnect between these board meetings and the performance art of them and the rest of what happens on campus. Trying to follow you all a little bit, I will say, first of all, thank you so much to Renee Kanaki Jefferson, who wrote in 2020 that she wanted to have an assessment, and to Kevin Guskowitz, who made it happen 6 years later, ignoring the role of Posse and all of the other survivors who came in the time between you, Renee Kanaki Jefferson, and you, Kevin Guskowitz, over 6 years to ask for the same thing. And their role, those girls, those survivors, have never been acknowledged. You ignored the trauma that you caused in the way you set up that assessment too, and they've told you that. And to Brianna Scott, Olin Health Center gives more than you PTSD. My intent today was to talk about the need, supposedly, for an appointed board. I want to remind everyone that prior to 2018, the board was widely criticized for being a rubber stamp and for not challenging the administration, and that seems to be the way the majority wants to go. Oversight, such as talking about the broad issues of diversity or transparency in trustees seeing documents, is not meddling, it is responsible. Disagreement is not disloyalty, debate is not dysfunction. I'm no micropathogenicist, but I want to read to you your own words in the preamble to your famous bylaws that says, with respect to the people of Michigan, the board willingly acknowledges that this university is in the final analysis their university. As a public institution, Michigan State University is obligated to serve the best interests of the people who support it, not the institution, the people. MSU needs more accountability, but it needs it perhaps from the legislature. It needs to follow the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act, or the people need legislative actions that will help with that. It needs greater accountability, or the people need legislative actions that strengthen accountability by providing more oversight. The trust lost in 2018 has not been restored, and it will not be restored by asking fewer questions. It will be restored by those who have the courage to ask them.
Thank you for your comments, Valerie. We'll move on to Randy Megan, who's also appearing via Zoom, and then perhaps Grace Sharkey, who also is maybe with us via Zoom. Randy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, Randy, please commence with your remarks.
Thank you. President Guskowitz, Chair Scott, and trustees, thanks for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Randy Megan. I'm a 1979 graduate of James Madison College and a proud Spartan. For the past 34 years, I've worked full-time in higher education as both a professor and an administrator, and today I'm a dean at a private school in New York City. I hope that background lends some credibility to my remarks. Let me just say plainly, you've made a mistake. Now, everybody makes mistakes, and that in and of itself is not the issue. But on April 10th, when you approved the unification of the College of Human Medicine and the College of Osteopathic Medicine, you acted prematurely. The question I ask is simple. What problem did this unification solve? Because when the problem's unclear, even well-intentioned decisions go astray. And in fact, the final report of the One Health Council noted that the Medicine Task Force did not reach consensus on unification, yet a major structural decision was still made, and there's still unresolved risks. The resolution you approved stated that unification would not compromise accreditation, but the One Health Council report explicitly noted that the accreditation implications required further evaluation. So it's not a settled issue. It's an open question, and there's a number of other themes in that final report that reinforce my point that you acted prematurely. The unification proposal generated the widest range of perspectives and the most complex discussion. Many respondents said they needed a better understanding of why, not just how this change was being considered. And you heard that from the President of the Faculty Senate. There are concerns about culture, governance, finances, as well as accreditation. They all require careful planning and communication. And these aren't minor concerns. They're signals that you're not ready. You're not ready for this step. So there's a simple principle at work here. Bad decisions, maybe good decisions, good intentions, are still bad decisions. So I urge you, hit the pause button. There's no crisis forcing immediate action. There's no fire to put out. And notably, sadly, the chief architect of this proposal, President Guskowitz, is leaving. Universities excel at many things. Universities excel at, and Michigan State excels at studying, at analyzing, at gathering evidence, and then acting with deliberation. And that's what's called for here. So take the time to find the problem, resolve the accreditation issues, and engage in a process that matters so you can proceed wisely later. Thank you.
Randy, thank you so much. Grace Sharkey is our next sort of scheduled speaker, but I don't believe that she is with us via Zoom. And I'm looking at the back, and the same would be for Ashley Kirkendall as well.
She's here.
Oh, Ashley, my goodness, sorry, my apology.
3 hours.
Ashley, oh my goodness, sorry. Sorry, we had you listed as appearing via Zoom, so I apologize for that. Ashley, hello, and please provide your remarks in person.
Good afternoon now. Thank you so much. My name is Ashley Kirkendall, and I stand before you today as a proud alumni of Michigan State University, a public servant, an adjunct professor due to the Green and White Council, so thank you so much for that. And I'm hoping to share with you something that it really matters to me. I love this institution. Michigan State has been my home for a really long time, and for more than 170 years, the mission of this institution has driven great and incredible work to come out of it. And none of that happens without the commitment of you all as board members showing up to do what makes sense for this institution and the people who are a part of it. Today, I'm asking that this board restore the integrity and respect to the governing of this great university. And in part of doing that, you have to re-engage the trust and expectations of your fellow Spartans and all Michiganders. We have to be mindful that trust is not built through titles or authority, but is built through character and integrity and truthfulness. It is built when leaders demonstrate that their words and their actions align. It is demonstrated through transparency and is valued over political maneuvering that are not in the best interest of this institution or for personal agendas. When we think about teaching students to be critical engagers of their communities, we tell them to test assumptions and engage competing ideas, to pursue the truth wherever it lies. And when we do that with the expectation that all of our leaders are going to follow the same path. Differing opinions are not a threat to governance. They are a strength of governance. But there is a difference between disagreement and disrespect. There's a difference between advocacy and antagonism, and we can disagree without being disagreeable. We can challenge one another without causing harm or inciting others to do the same. We can debate vigorously while still treating one another with dignity. And we can do all of this while remaining united in our commitment to this institution, Michigan State University. If respect is modeled, respect will grow. If transparency is modeled, transparency and trust will grow. If integrity is modeled, confidence will follow. The stakes are far too high for anything less than your absolute best as board members and upcoming presidents. Goodbye, President Guskowitz, we appreciate you. The reputation of Michigan State University is not built solely through our rankings or athletic achievements or fundraising campaigns or research. It's built through the daily demonstration of our values. Those values must include courage, humility, accountability, and truth. And do know that everybody is watching, current Spartans, future Spartans, and the public alike. I ask each trustee to recommit to the principles that should guide public service: character over ego, truth over misrepresented narratives, stewardship over self-interest, and mission over politics. Michigan State University deserves leaders who can voice disagreement without seeking media attention and political favor. Thank you so much for your service and for all you do. Go Green.
Hawaii.
Ashley, thank you so much. Our next speaker is William Thomas Rudman, followed by KP Mahoney, appearing via Zoom. William, are you with us? And I'll look at the IT team. He's not on Zoom either, correct? Okay. Our next speaker is KP Mahoney, appearing via Zoom. KP, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
We can indeed. KP, I will please begin your remarks.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, President Guskowitz, students, faculty, staff, and guests. I am Kathy Pellerin Mahoney, called KP. I'm a taxpayer and citizen who cares deeply about MSU. Also, as a former trustee at Lansing Community College, I regularly interfaced with MSU. I am part of the larger Spartan community and want the best for MSU and its stakeholders. I believe that public higher education is one of Michigan's greatest responsibilities and one of its greatest promises. MSU is a public institution. It belongs to the people of this state. It deserves governance that is disciplined, principled, and focused on its mission. I thank those of you who signed the revised Code of Ethics and Conduct at your May meeting. To the two trustees who have not signed, I would encourage you to do so and to appropriately contribute to meaningful discussions and actions as my trustees. You hold the board post in the public trust. Trustees have a higher duty. The Board of Trustees as a unit has general supervision of the university and control over university expenditures. It's essential work. It's to govern as one body, to hire and hold accountable its one employee, the president, and to adopt and oversee the budget with seriousness, independence, and fidelity to the public trust. Those responsibilities are too important to be diluted by division, distraction, or conduct that shifts attention away from MSU's long-term welfare and its mission to serve the students and to be a research engine. No trustee has independent authority beyond that granted as part of the full board. Each member has a voice in deliberation, and vigorous discussion is both necessary and healthy before a vote is taken. But once the board acts, that decision is the decision of the board. Trustees are not serving the institution or its stakeholders when they continue public fights that undermine duly adopted action or weaken confidence in the university's governance. We have a right to expect trustees to communicate well with one another, to keep lines of communication open, and to continue doing the hard work of governing even when disagreements are real. I urge you respectfully but firmly to govern with maturity, integrity, and purpose. Again, you are my trustees, and I expect you to maintain the public trust. Signing the revised code of ethics and conduct is the first step. Honoring it is the second step. I wish you, the board, well for all our sakes. Thank you very much. Go Green.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our last speaker is Donna Secor-Pennington. Donna, I think, is with us via Zoom. Donna, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can indeed. Donna, please begin your remarks.
Okay. My name is Donna Secor-Pennington, and I live here on the Lakeshore. I have 2 degrees from MSU and have been honored as a distinguished alumna, taught graduate students social work interns from MSU for 30 years, and held season tickets for all of them. Those are my Spartan credentials. I was gravely saddened when the campus was shaken by the Larry Nassar scandal, but encouraged to have the opportunity to elect a bright, principled, and skilled leader, Brianna Scott, from here on the Lakeshore, who is now the chair of this board. Sadly, though, the challenges we have faced since then, including a tragic campus shooting and more, have contributed to a pressing need to provide strong and stable leadership to guide this great institution forward, building on the work of President Guskowitz. I have served on many boards at the local, state, and national levels in the course of my career, and several of those boards at one point faced a crisis or threat to the organization. Board members came together, set aside individual differences or grievances, and developed plans in the best interests of the organization. We presented with a united front based on our board decisions and a united vision of the way forward. This is quite simply what I ask of you, to demonstrate your unity by putting aside displays of division, to fulfill your ultimate responsibility to employ the best possible leader for MSU, and to do everything in your power to support his or her success. To do this while fulfilling your fiduciary responsibilities as a board. To measure your every action as a board member against whether it is in the service of the students, our faculty and staff, and citizens of the state of Michigan. I sincerely request that you consider your overarching responsibility to preserve and protect MSU at this point in time. We have spent this morning listening to the great things we are accomplishing around the world, literally fields of dreams. MSU, we love thy shadows. Thank you, and go green.
Donna, thank you so much. President Guskowitz, that concludes public participation on items non-germane to the agenda.
Well, thank you. And I don't know if this is on or not. It is? Okay, great. I want to again thank all of you for being here. We are, I think this might have broken a record. We did start a half hour late though. But so with that, thanks to all of you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll ask if there is a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.